Oh wow, I didn't have net 6.0. Nice. Well, that's good upgrade. Just put some water in. What? I checked all of them. What are you talking about? You said check the terminal. Which one? I did do. I did do. Oh, okay. Okay, time to go get my Beastmaster's testimony. I'm gonna sit and work on that for a while. Because getting the 75 is the real money. I can just start grinding mobs and producing, antique impulsions directly and just do that instead of, like, wasting all this time. Okay, that one's good. Gonna need, yep, fight, rage. I want you to, oops, wait, stop. So, wait. Attack 3, pet, oh, attack P, pet fight T. So, no, we want pet fight T to be the first one. We'll pull this one. Nope. God damn it. Pet fight T. Wait. 3. Wait. 3. Attack T. Wait. 3. Pet rage me. Pet. Oh yeah. Wait 5. Wait 7. Pet lamb chop. And that's it. Oh yeah, wait 2. And then J.A. Steel T. And there's a nice long good macro. I have got my level 70 limit break quest. I need to go to Volbo, but I also need Signet, which is nice because it's right here. And I think I can just run over to the teleport NPC. I wonder if there is a Nomad Moogle here. I don't know if there's a Moogle in Relu, but it would be helpful if there was. It would be good to learn it. Signet. Gotta go kill Beastmasters, mobs, which, without annoying people, I don't know. But it's okay. Yep, get up. I should have rat-awayed. Oh, okay, I need a, level. Nice. Sprint, heavy guns, reload, science master, craft 3, rank 3, energy weapons mod, storm chaser, bandolier, gun bashing, take iron fist, pack rat, your shotguns, weight of all chems, your rifles way less. Fire in the hole, glow sight. Deal 20% damage to glowing enemies, period. Glow sight might be really good, actually. I think I probably will rock glow sight. Wait, 60% damage to glowing enemies, huh? Okay. But I mean, I don't need stuff for damage. I need utility. Ooh, gain 10 energy. Refractor sounds good. Let's dump a bunch of points into that. I love me some Fallout. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, so is there a Moogle here? I don't think there is. No, it does not appear that there is. There's a Mandragora assistant that seems to be standing out. Yeah, got Refractor. Yeah. So 3 unused points for Refractor. Yep. Perception seems to be what I ran with here. Key fragment. Oh. Ah! Nice to be able to actually do the damage necessary to kill him. I'm overburdened. I have to go sell. Damn it. Well, at least there's like a thing down there. This is a peaceful area. I should rat away. I'm out of stim packs. Crocodero, do you know him? Crocodero, say you know all of the governments. Yes, I do. Okay, but yes, but okay. So what does the magic gourd do? There's a delivery person and the little girl who sells flowers, and then there's the fortune teller. No memory recalled. Well, I don't think there's a teleport here, but I think there is an upper. I just wanted to see. Nope, yep, that's a storage person. Or D-box, I mean. I used to live here because you could get to the auction house really fast. Oh, good. So then let's download Vortex then. Oops, close. I should no. Close. I should get to it. I do. So then, yep, must be download to log in here. Okay, log in to download files. Log in. Log in. There we go. Slow download. There we go. Okay, Vortex. The call to Taylor Swift. Okay, how Tesla made the worst truck ever. Rust admin for rust drops. Data center. This guy just keeps slandering me. Rust admin. Toll roads are mostly a private profit scam. Keffels responds. The new battle cruisers are awesome. 6 months ago. The new battle cruisers are awesome. Let's listen to Captain Benzie about the new battle cruisers.
Ahoy there, folks. I'm Captain
Hi.
and welcome back
Captain
to another
Benzie.
video for EVE Online. In today's video, well, we're doing things slightly differently than I anticipated. I did have a video all recorded and ready to go for you folks this evening, but all of the footage was black screen with no microphone because I'm an absolute idiot. I redid some of the stuff on my PC and forgot to set up OBS properly. So I sat for 45 minutes to an hour talking at my computer screen and recording none of it, because isn't that awesome? Yeah, so what I thought I'd do instead is talk about the Kisriel and the Alligator. Just a brief...
Why is your resolution smaller than the screen?
Little look at these two ships. I do have both of them already. I've got plans for both of them. I am super excited by both of these vessels, and I just want to wax lyrical about what they are and what I think they're going to be good at going forward from here. So, if you enjoy... usual, let me know, drop a like on it with a comment.
Yeah, thank you, really Captain Benzie, for the excellent content from the stream. I'd like to sub to your channel.
If you do want to go the extra mile to help support the channel financially, join my Patreon page. You get your name in the stars at the end of every video, or if you're more of a one-off donation kind of person, then I've got a PayPal tip jar as well linked in the description. And while you're down there in the description, come join the Cat Skull
while you're down
Discord.
there.
Remember, that link is case sensitive, so make sure you type it out correctly. Come join that Discord, talk with us in Cat Skull, maybe even consider joining the Corp if you fancy, and there's a referral link down there as well. If you've not used a referral link before, you can click on that, earn yourself 1 million free skill points, and give me a little kickback as well. Anyway, all that said and done then, let's talk about the new Angel Cartel Kizriel and Guristas Pirates Alligator battle cruisers. So, straight on, let's open up the ship tree on this one, and we're going to go straight in to have a look at the pirate trees just to see how this all looks. So here we are in the Angel Cartel pirate tree now, and under Battle Cruiser, we now have the Kizriel alongside the Mekubal recently added, as you know. Now, the Kizriel is actually a really quite cool ship. I love the layout of this ship. So if we were to look at its attributes and fitting, for example, its fitting profile is basically identical to the Hurricane fleet issue. Several of its attributes are very similar, but with a couple of key differences. We've got a lot more tank in the armor here. It's a lot more balanced between shield and armor, which is what you'd come to expect from an Angel Cartel ship. Plus, we've got better agility and flight speed as well. Again, kind of what you'd expect from an Angel Cartel ship. I also love reading through the description here. There's a lot of really cool stuff. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this right now, but it's a pretty cool ship. Now, for its ship characteristics, being a battle cruiser, it has roll bonuses. We have the ability to use a command burst module, and we get a 50% bonus to the command burst's area of effect range, meaning your command bursts are bigger. And certainly a lot of the fits that I've been looking at for the Kizriel will be using command bursts, even if just to boost yourself. But certainly in small gangs and fleets, the Kizriel is definitely going to have a strong place, I think. We also get a 25% bonus to warp speed and warp acceleration, which is very typical of Angel Cartel ships. So you warp fast, you reach warp faster, not your align time. Once your warp drive is active, you reach your top speed and warp quicker. You decelerate on grid faster, so you leave and arrive on grid faster, and you have a faster warp speed in AU per second as well as you move. It means you're very, very mobile. You can do a lot of hit and run really quite nicely. We then get some nice bonuses to medium projectile turrets, a 25% bonus to rate of fire, and a 25% bonus, to optimal range and fall off. And that optimal range and fall off bonus to medium projectile turrets is just filthy, and I love it. Now, from Galente Battle Cruiser, we're getting 10% bonus to medium projectile turret fall off, so that's another 50% fall off there, which means this now does actually outrange the Hurricane fleet issue quite nicely. And we get a 5% bonus from Minmatar Battle Cruiser to medium projectile turret damage. 25% turret damage, 25% rate of fire. You're attacking the DPS equation from both ends. You get a lot of damage per second out of this thing at some really rather filthy ranges. So what am I talking about here? Well, if we open up the fitting window of how I've got my Kizriel currently fit, you can see here, if I simulate this, that we're getting 988 DPS. That's not a clean clone. There is nothing here that is like medium projectile on my current clone, with some really nice stats. 54,741 EHP, a lot of which is just through to very high resistances across the board here. Nice shield resistances, pretty good armor, with the exception of explosive. I've got 182 of that is from drones. We've got a nice flight speed of 1,682.9 meters per second. We're not cap stable.
988. 988 for 340. I think the sounds got set back all the way up. No, it's the yeah, the effects should not be that high where they're blasting like that. Wait, did you sell the stim packs? Don't do that. No, don't sell the stim pack. Buy it back. Oh. Okay, so we go out. Okay, we go out now to, I guess, lower. Ouch, you stupid flamethrower, Mr. Handy. Robots always shooting at me. I guess the real flee here is just to the teleporter. You know, oh no, I have tuna sushi. I'll probably run tuna sushi for this. Going to... Bulbo. 500 G, not bad. Sand lizards. Oh, I need BST. Goblin. Are you killing him? There's a bandit. Shit. How many sheep do I have here? Oh, plenty. Okay, call bees. Familiar. Good. Kill bandit, and I'll just start taking pet lamb chop. Isn't that what's called? Lamb chop. What do you mean? Oh, I probably did T. Oh, yeah, no, I missed it. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Okay, need one for True Strike. macro for True Strike. True Strike. True Strike. Weapon skill. True Strike. Me. No, what that to be. True Strike. And I lost my rest macro. Stay. You killed my sheep, you bastard. Well, that's no good. You better fucking kill him. Goblin rush. Kill
Skill
him.
has increased.
Kill him. 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 When I get TP, you're dead, bitch.
Your skill has increased.
There it is, you stupid goblin. Oh, he hurt me. Goblin in the way? No, no goblin in the way. Well, he gave a lot of XP, but he didn't really... Like, I don't know why, but my damn Beastmaster gob. Are you guys fighting goblins? I'm gonna go rest, like, over here where I'm way less likely to get aggro. Oh, do you pull goblins? I didn't know. Okay, stop making that sound. I should eat. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna go get something to eat, but I don't know what. I'll be right back, guys. I exercised quite a bit today. Sugar. So we'll have some tomatoes. Actually, I don't think I want to cook this in this. Oh, well, I'm going to cook it with this. soy sauce for this. Yep. And that'll be a wonderful meal. Okay, I'm pan frying some wontons while we wait.
With everything running, but if we turn off the micro warp drive, we are somewhat cap stable. And that's also using a large outlaw shield booster, which if we turn that off, we are very cap stable. So we're fast, we're cap stable, and we do a lot of damage. That's done with 425mm autocannon 2s.
Let's go see what the price of a, what is this again? It's a, Kisriel. Let's go see what a Kisriel is on the market. Master at Arms currently did not jump. They're always the same price, I guess. But that's okay. I've been getting them for cheap. And we are looking for Kisriel, right? What is the name of it again? It's a Kisriel with an H. Okay, Kisriel is $594. This is a lot more expensive than when he bought it. Expensive ship. You could get one for $531. I don't want to take their Merc or their Bandit, or, well, I wouldn't mind the Alchemist because he pays, but I mean, I am looking for a Goblin Shepherd. There is one over there. Oh, good. I can camp this. Yeah, I probably can. Look, I can probably camp him. It probably only really helps people. I'm gonna stir my dinner. The goblin is on me now. Oh, we have another rabbit already? Okay, well.
Beast.
Kill the rabbit. No, you kill the shepherd. I'll kill the rabbit. Now kill the rabbit. 168. Oh yeah, well I'm hitting it too, okay? Thank God the rabbit didn't link beach bunnies. Well, this was a nice fantasy, but oof, the price tag, too high. I think my sound is a little too high. Okay, so 104, 130, fire crystal. Damn it. Alright, well, let's go stay where nothing will kill me. Probably back over here, really. And we'll just kill this goblin over and over again, rather than goldsmith today all day. Yep, and we heal up. I'm gonna go stir my dinner and look for a. Oh yeah, EvE Vanguard First Strike May. The monthly trial deployment of war clones is here once more. It is open to all Omega founders until the 27th of May. I don't really care about the skin, but reactive alloy, original top 10 millimeter with a wealth of plex, over 5 friendly fire kills. Wow, 3,000 plex, Jesus. Oh, friendly fire kills, huh? Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go stir my dinner. I'll be right back. It smells good. Started to burn, didn't they? Alright, let's get. Oh. Very good. Sitting there. This and some ice water. Got some nice pan-fried wontons there, vegetable wontons. Okay, let us eat dinner right quick. I will pull a video to watch. Good to know about Vanguard.
Guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today's video is brought to you by Common Sense,
Mudahar.
which unfortunately isn't so common anymore. We're also bringing you a side sponsor as well, known as Objectivity, research, and bringing things up in good faith. This is something that the subject to today's video absolutely lacks. So if you're interested in common sense, go to www.thisisagoddamnjoke.com/SOG. All right, I'm sure somebody's going to buy that goddamn domain. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I was called out a few days ago by a YouTuber known as In Praise of Shadows, okay? A channel that covers horror history, reviews, and retrospectives. And while this was something that was a little bit unexpected, this is not a channel I've really seen. I've seen one of his videos pop up in a feed, never really watched it because I don't really watch it horror movie retrospectives. If you think what I watch is, this is the kind of content that I look up, okay? Look up any old game from the 90s, space, type in retrospective. Find the longest video you can and just watch it the rest of the day. That's the content that I consume, okay? That's literally what Mudahar watches. But of course, this is a guy that genuinely appears to make some pretty good objective videos about horror movies. His most recent video was Bad Conservative Horror Movies, where yours truly and friends of the channel, Wendigoon, Brandon Buckingham, so on and so forth, Oompaville got called out for promoting bad things, being associated with the bad people on the internet. And this is where I want to kind of respond because I really feel like I was taken in the most bad faith representation possible. And I'm going to use this video to kind of make fun of this stupid shit and also address some serious misconceptions that really don't bother me at the end of the day, but enough for me to discuss it and kind of laugh at with the general community, okay? At the end of the day, I only care about my relationship to you, my fan base, okay? It is what it is. If you're somebody that hates me and clicks on these videos to say, Muda, you're a smelly poo boy, then honestly, I can't convince you, okay? Drop your comment for the engagement and I guess do what you have to, all right? I don't really care. But again, ladies and gentlemen, it's fun to kind of laugh at these things and again, sort of like debunk a lot of the stupid misrepresentations you find on the internet. Now, this guy's video, Bad Conservative Horror Movies, watch a little bit of his content and you can kind of understand his political ideologies and his leanings, mostly left-oriented. Not to say that there isn't bad conservative horror movies or bad conservative content sometimes. Doesn't really matter what your political spectrum is. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, you're all capable of making absolute dog water. For instance, Daily Wire Plus launched Mr. Bircham, okay? Meet Mr. Bircham, a no-nonsense woodshop teacher at odds with his gamer son, snowflake students, and the school's Jedi, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Officer. Again, this is something Adam Carolla's been pitching for a while, and I watched a few clips of this, and man, let me tell you right now, okay, if goddamn Family Guy, actually Family Guy has always been kind of funny and has made edgy jokes, but the point is, if Family Guy and South Park still exist, dropping this thing, pile driving it into the ground, this is one of those shows where you watch a few snippets out of, and it's literally like written by like a 40-year-old who just wants to appeal to one specific crowd. It's really the wildest thing about politics, right? You got like the extreme left wing and the extreme right wing, and like all the majority is in like the center middle area, and we're all just like collectively grown at the cringe some of these people spit out in their entire camps. But again, to go back to our buddy Praise of Shadows, he made this video Bad Conservative Horror Movies, and while this video is 2 hours and 45 minutes, it used to be an hour more, where it contained an entire hit piece on our buddy Wendigoon, primarily, but also I got strays, Oompaville got strays, Brandon got strays, Turkey Tom got strays, pretty much everyone got strays. This man delivered a bad faith representation, and it's time to actually debunk why it was bad faith. Now I'm going to play one snippet from this video where he actually talks about Appalachia in a very wild sense, a area of the United States that covers about 18 actual states, okay? So let's actually listen to this banger.
Deep Appalachia is very white country, and for the most part,
Very
it's
white
exceptionally
country.
racist. Genuinely in this part of the country, you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they
What?
show you otherwise.
Don't worry, buddy. I'm sure you're one
You
of the good
have
white
to
guys
assume
out
that,
there.
do
But
you?
This is one of those statements that I kind of wanted to talk about because honestly, it kind of paints a perspective for what this person's like, you know, view of the world really is. Now, I'm sure that obviously there is definitely racism in some deep parts of the United States. That's not a shocking thing for many people to consume. But to broadly paint nearly every white guy living out there really serves as a statement to further separate society. I guess maybe the equivalent statement could be like, hey, look, all those Indian guys in Toronto, yeah, 99% of those dudes are racist. Trust me, you really got to dig through the Indians in Toronto to find the non-racist ones. I really feel like if anybody said that statement, it would immediately be they would immediately get destroyed out there, even regardless of whatever lived experience people have had. Now, obviously, this is a broad statement, And it's not done in the best faith possible. And this kind of a statement from this creator actually paints how he views creators of similar, areas. So Wendigoon being from that region, being with the race that he is, it starts to paint a seed in the actual user's head. When in reality, nobody should be making statements like this, and it honestly serves more as a divisive tool than something that brings us together. So when our comrade makes this exact segment where he talks about, people who are going to react to his exact segment, which is basically what he wanted, picking the whole fight, this is what he actually had to say. Watch this one.
Then let's see how they react to this video's existence, because I am certain they will be very level-headed about all of this.
Yeah, so far we have been pretty level-headed about this, okay? A lot of this whole discussion is debunking things rationally, okay? Instead of screaming over a microphone, yelling at each other, that's what piss babies do, okay? Let's actually debunk this and discuss this like actual grown adults. So, what is his reaction to, like, Wendigoon suddenly following him as he's, like, researching this hit piece? And I say research very lightly, which we'll get into.
Midst of this going on, a very funny thing happened, and that Wendigoon followed me on Twitter. I was not following
Very
him
funny
at the
thing
time.
happened.
He never publicly told people to stop calling me a friend. He never once reached out to me privately. But he did follow me, which means in my eyes that he 100% knew what was happening because I did tweet about it several times.
Chasing
and then
idiot.
followed me to let me know that he knew, and that he was watching and that he intended to do nothing to stop it. Why else would he follow me in that exact moment?
Oh yeah, that totally makes perfect logical sense. Following you is a move of intimidation. Now, obviously, one of the principal allegations over here is this person received what they claim to be some hateful words, and a lot of that was being linked to Wendigoon's community or whatever. And here's the thing. You can't really link anybody to a certain community like that, because what people post on the internet is entirely of their own volition, and that's where it comes down to. To be somebody on the internet, you are going to receive any form of, harassment in general. It's not something that I condone or support, but it's just something that happens to everybody.
It goes with the territory.
To pin and blame somebody for the actions of a totally, different person on the internet is a little bit childish, and it's something that, honestly, I feel is being used way too much. As somebody that also receives harassment over the internet as well, too, and maybe it's just easier for me to, maybe it's just different, but honestly, blocking, muting, or trying to not engage with these people really helps it die down. But again, that's just my experience, and I'd rather just throw that into the situation. Again, it's just blatantly putting the blame on Wendigoon when it really should be put onto the individual making disgusting threats or disgusting pieces, or saying disgusting things to you in general. That's not really Wendigoon's fault, that's just unfortunately an asshole on the internet. So in regarding me, alright, he ends up actually saying this.
He is friends with Oompaville, a gun-obsessed content creator that has taken advantage
A gun-obsessed content creator. Like a gun-obsessed content creator.
Mikado Avocado's mental
You've been
decline.
examined.
Bro, they have made content together, okay? To specifically pick, Oompaville for making videos about Nikocado Avocado is insane, alright? At the same camp, you could say that pretty much anybody in the commentary space,
Incoming
or
tell.
Critical Me, anybody has taken advantage of Nikocado Avocado. Nikocado Avocado is a very, very, very intelligent content creator. They know exactly what they are doing, okay? At the end of the day, there is no taking advantage of. And on this point, Nikocado Avocado, again, is a grown adult that can choose to make content with whoever they want to. To understand, when both these parties get together and make content, they understand that it is mutually beneficial for each other. So it's so weird that, now we've got this almost fake faux outrage and this weird moral panic, when in reality, these are two adults that decided to produce content with each other. What do you mean take advantage
Your
of
skill
this
has
individual?
increased.
You simply work together, make content, and both of you make money out of it. It is as simple as it comes out to. Why are we not allowed to actually make content with people because this individual perceives them to be incapable of deciding for themselves who they want
I
to
got
make
my
content
Beastmaster's
with?
testimony.
This is such a weird actual take to have, and I don't understand why they decided to go down this road other than trying to pretend they care for this Nikocado fellow, when in reality the situation is about as cut and dry, as adult-oriented as one could expect.
for fame and for money. And on top of that, has made content with the human trafficker, Andrew Tate.
So what about plenty of news organizations that have actually brought him on and actually had interviews with him? Are they also responsible? Or are you going to throw the actual idea of platforming and propagating alleged human trafficking in this situation? And I say alleged because the court cases are still ongoing. One of the weird things about the internet is basically just making statements of actual fact before things are supposed to be actual fact, okay? If you follow the legal system and you follow situations like this...
Yep, if you just, act like if you're a good
Incoming
actor,
towel.
if you're a good actor, get my test. Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Incoming towel.
Yes. Any tips? I've never BS'd Matt before. Sweet. That's good to hear. Yeah, I gotta go fight Matt, which is kind of annoying. FFXI Beastmaster Matt fight. Horizon XI Beastmaster Matt fight. Millsy. Yeah, what's the music here?
Towel.
I used my 2
Incoming
hour.
towel.
I am gonna buy a D-Wing. Because I can afford it, who cares? I'll buy like a Soul Sushi plus 1 and a D-Wing, or not a Soul Sushi, Tuna Sushi plus 1 and all that. Teleport with Gil 500. Oh my god, it was 2600. No, I should have used the damn. Why was it 2600? Why was it 500 out and 2600 back? That's insane. Ah, damn it. Oh well. Gotta go teleport.
Incoming towel.
Yeah, I wasn't even there for it. Best freak luck in the long term. Now you use Life Drinker Lars.
Incoming towel.
Oops. Where am I currently in this? Did you? Oh yeah, I'm here. Okay. Don't log me out. I need to buy stims, which means going to the mall. I might as well do the load now. Okay, so I'm gonna wait for my 2 hour to be up. I guess I'll go do some goldsmithing until my 2 hours up, and then I'll go do the mat fight. That guy was very helpful. Oh, I didn't change. Well, no, I guess I don't need to change yet. No, I just need to. I have to go do goldsmithing. Very helpful. I'll be able to do it right. I want to crack that thing. I think I can crack this now as it is weak. I don't like this laser rifle at all. The 50 cal's cool, but the other one isn't. I want to change it, the Ghoul Slayer thing. Ooh, that's right, I got a black diamond yet, but I want the Ghoul Slayer's 50 cal there. Yeah, what's the stats on it though? Maybe it's good. Nope. Armor penny. Close, but no cigar. I mean, it's a nice piece. I like this weapon, and I'm gonna keep it in case I can add 3 things to it, like that spear. Yeah, I like that gun. I like the weapon. There, I can sell a whole lot more weapons here. Oops. Oh, good. I can go back to goldsmithing. I'm up. I'm making good money. Well, yeah, I will do the silver, yeah. I don't want to do it yet. Give me the bonus. Okay, so I like that combat shotgun, and I feel like it's actually like better than some of the other weapons I'm using, like this crappy tactical ultra. Like, I don't know. I like the no, I like it. It's just, yeah, it's like not the most amazing thing. And then that targeting laser sniper rifle. Yeah, let's sell some of these weapons, but not all of them. Like, yeah, I'll sell that stuff. That's a lot of frag grenades. I'm going to use them. They're helpful. Mold miner gauntlets and assault rifles. Stuff that I don't like, right? Hey, look, I got some money now. That's good. Oh yeah, the explosive bait, right? Did I start getting a lot of that? I did, because I started using it. But explosive bait sucks, but it does vendor well. It, like 2 caps a piece, but you know. Let's just see how it swings. Yeah, if it had speed on it, it would be a really fun weapon. It looks good when she swings it. But okay, so yeah, this was a good oh yeah, so the map fight, right? What did he do? He brought a life drinker Lars. And he got on the pet first. It looks like you go in and you kill the pet. Yeah, because you can't take any damage. Just let your pet kill the pet. Look, your pet's taking no damage at all. Yeah, it's good. I like it. Oh, he's rocking scythe. You know, I forgot you could do that. I love the scythe. Yeah, why not use the scythe, huh? I forgot all about the scythe. But, I mean, I have an octave club. I don't need a scythe. I will kick his ass. Look how easy this is. Sick pet and collect money. Oh my god. This will be so easy. And then I'll go flag up. I can like finally XP to 75. I should unlock Sky now. I don't know. Can I do that? I don't know if I have enough. Vorpal Scythe. I love Vorpal Scythe, but I mean, I have Octave Club. I need to unlock what's it called? I've got to unlock Hexa Strike. Wow, did you full-blown like kill him? Yeah, you like full-blown killed him and you weren't even like low health. Yeah, this looks easy. Yeah, I watched this video. Wow, this looks way easy. Deeps damage done. Oh god, I don't care about that.
Things that me, Oompa, and plenty of like the Nux and everyone on our podcast pretty much gets flack for when regards to this Andrew Tate subject. When we say alleged, it's because it is still alleged. Dog, we are waiting. Obviously, yep. I have my own personal beliefs. I don't think Andrew's a squeaky clean individual, but being objective,
you know, Lotro has a tunable damage. I'm sorry, a tunable difficulty level that I'm kind of interested in. But I mean, I don't know. That game, I don't want to get sucked into Lotro, though. It's too old.
And it's saying things as they are, right? And of course, if Oompaville's guilty for it, have you ever actually watched the content that he makes and the discussions we have about this character on the podcast? The more and more we actually research on him, and research by reading through actual court documentations, other court cases that aren't in the public eye, we start to develop our own negative perception of this individual based on actual stuff that we have researched, not a Twitter like quote that we've read online, like some people have.
He is friends with Mutahar, who argued against Andrew Tate being deplatformed from social media websites, and has recently showcased a great deal of transphobia in his most recent video.
Oh boy, that thumbnail's never gonna leave me! I'll tell you what, that's the best $120 I must have ever spent. You know, the same thumbnail that's basically made a caricature right here of that character Keffels that I actually ended up covering. Now, looking at this image over here, it is in fact just a disheveled, greasy individual, okay? And people have questioned, you know, why is this the only art that I've actually commissioned? I never really commissioned anything in the past. I decided to do it because of a recommendation from other creators and a quick turnaround time. I probably would have commissioned art for this goober in the video, but I honestly just didn't have the time to. But the other reality of it is too, is like even the person that I was talking about used this person's art. So clearly they didn't care about that artist's attachment to actual sites that they consider to be bad. Because if that was the case, if their principles were there, they would never have used that art in the first place. Insane stuff to understand and talk about. So again, I press this individual on the idea of like, where is the transphobia that I was showcasing? Where is it? Is it in the room with us? Where is it? And again, that was a response over here. I was like, you know, back that claim up? What about painting me as a Tate fan when I clearly aren't? And in fact, this person's only response to this was, Mudahar, your art was transphobic. I have nothing else to say to that. You know, you could actually apply some basic level of research and probably dig through just a quick little crumb and say the artist that I used made posts on that actual Kiwi Farms website and probably would have used that against me, even though I've already discussed this. See, this is the problem with this kind of stuff. Even their owns don't have any form of research to assist in their own. And of course, this is one of those things where he's like, I have argued against like deplatforming Tate. Now I want to kind of address this because it is a point that kind of sticks around. This was the actual post that I had made, I want to say in 2022, where I said, banning Andrew Tate is dumb, ideas should be challenged, and if he spreads misinformation, it should be countered in the public sphere. I really think, and maybe this is idealistic of me, but I really do believe that when talking about, you know, individuals on the internet, whether they be Tate, whether they be Sneeko, whether they be all these characters, deplatforming, I think, always strengthens a lot of their core base into thinking maybe they were right all along, maybe the establishment wants to shut them down. These people use euphemisms like the Matrix and whatnot to basically say that there are people oppressing them, when in reality they just have really shitty ideas that in the grand scheme of things, when you actually are countering them, like Charlie's made videos on Sneeko, I've made videos on Sneeko where we've collectively shat on the individual. Charlie taught him how to use guns, I taught Sneeko how to shift gears in a manual transmission vehicle, and of course, plenty of other people have laughed at individuals, especially people like Tate. I really think that discussing these things instead of outright banning might actually be for the better. Now obviously this is a topic that's really brought up for debate. And it's one of those things that is a gross mischaracterization of where my stance is. This guy has basically glazed me up to be a fan when I'm going to do one thing that this guy doesn't do in all of his videos, it seems, is actually research. So this is my YouTube channel, and you see this little search button right over here? You click that, you type in the words Andrew Tate, all right, real quick, hit enter, and whoa, look at that, boys, I got a few big videos. They're not small, 1.9 million views, 750,000. Of course, this one right here, 27 minutes long, where we actually look into one specific case that really paints Tates and a lot of his friends as actual proper scumbags. Yeah, I take shit from every side, okay? Whether it's the most left-leaning or the rightoids or whatever. And it's literally because for actual objectivity, we do look through actual cases and information and come to a logical conclusion. A lot of the videos on my channel in this fashion is me presenting actual facts, actual evidence, and a lot of the conclusion is something that comes up to the average person. And I believe I present cases in such a way and in such a fashion that people usually come to what I believe is the more right conclusion, which is that these people are scumbags. When discussing characters like Sneeko with 1.5 million views, objectively breaking down this guy's stupid thoughts and brain-dead logic in 31 minutes, I think does more than just simply saying this person's bad, because all they have to do is quote tweet you and shit on you, and their side wins, your side, nobody actually learns anything, okay? Whereas I make videos in a fashion where these people usually will not watch my entire video on their channel or even attempt to at all, because if their audience could see their contradictions and hypocrisy happen live in front of them, then they would immediately be clowned on. That's how you produce videos and how you make, I guess, quote unquote, a hit piece in this situation. Something that this individual failed to actually do. So I wanted to address these things and talk about them. But where it gets really dangerous is when this person actually makes a really, really serious claim against another creator that has been on the show. A creator that some of you might know as Brandon Buckingham.
He's friends with Brandon Buckingham. a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape.
So this is a situation where it's so actually hilarious, right? He says that Brandon Buckingham is a gun tuber, which is so far from the course. The only thing that I've seen Brandon talk about with guns is when he went out to the ranch with Brandon Herrera and Donut Operator. The actual accusation of accused of threatening rape is actually something that I talked about in my video in regards to Brandon Buckingham and Sneeko. Now, while Sneeko likes to take it to the streets and whip his little Glock around thinking that he's hard, anytime YouTubers actually want to challenge Sneeko to a fight, for instance, like Brandon Buckingham, who fits his weight class exactly, actually matches his viewership and popularity, would absolutely, I would bet money on Brandon winning, could challenge him to a fight. Sneeko decides to back out and make jokes at home. But one thing that's interesting is Sneeko, without any form of critical thought, is also somebody that spreads around false allegations. Sneeko showcases a message sent to him by Brandon Buckingham. So obviously, to clarify, Sneeko has not signed to box. He has refused to fight because I'm on his dick. What a pitiful excuse. Your main channel is literally dying, and you desperately cling to this alpha male red pill persona that is completely fabricated. I used to rock with and support this dude, but on God, it's fuck him from now on. I'll be in NYC in July, Nico. Come watch me lick shots on your busted girl. Whole gang is gonna run the train on her like she asked us to last time I was in town. I know you love controversy and beef. How do you like this pressure? Now, of course, anybody could read that and just say, bro, the boys and I are gonna come gangbang your girl. Obviously, when he's saying shit like she asked us to last time I was in town, his joke implies explicit consent at this point. Now, of course, Sneeko decides to be so butthurt about this, he actually spreads really harmful false allegations. Listen closely.
Yo, you know who's an L-mans? Brandon Buckingham.
Oh, yeah.
That guy sucks. Bro, literally said, I'm gonna R-word your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Literally said that. This dude said he is going to R-word my girlfriend. Bro, nothing warrants saying I'm gonna R-word your girlfriend.
Now again, one look at our buddy Praise of Shadows probably enlightens you to understand that this guy might be ideologically opposed to Sneeko in general, but not ideologically opposed to take a false actual representation, a bad faith representation, and promote that as it was actual reality, dude. I mean, come on now. That is without a doubt. This took 5 minutes of fucking research, okay? Even when I was doing it, it took like 5 minutes to get those clips together. Find the fucking contradiction and laugh at it. So again, one of the things looking further into it is obviously, this person clearly has had a bad time on YouTube. So I want to just bring up the ultimate contradiction. He's represented me, Wendigoon, Brandon in bad faith amongst plenty of people. So I'm going to look at what this person actually had to deal with on the internet himself. And 47 minutes into his bad conservative horror movies was this goddamn line drop.
I normally have a rule for myself of refusing to engage in purposefully combative comments, but this one made me really mad. And I said back to them, I can assure you that I have never done that. That accusation is disgusting to me, and putting those words in my mouth is in extremely bad faith. To which she said, I wouldn't make that accusation if it wasn't something you have done. Either way, you sadly became full of yourself, mourning over your poor artist soul and drowning in self-pity.
Dogs.
Switch to Chrome to help protect yourself from malware.
What a joke! Oh man. Anyways, though, comedic interruption aside, yeah, this person was accused of a bad comment, and it wasn't something that was in good faith either for him. So he was clearly somebody who was, in the same situation. Apparently, somebody took his words out of context, like he took my Tate mention out of context, and didn't even bother to attribute to the fact that I actually spoke out against the person that he also hates as well, it seems. And yeah, represented me in bad faith. And what did it cost him? Well, let's go dive in a little bit.
A man had posted, I'm just here to see how long it takes him to whine about the racist patriarchy. To which someone else said, if you dislike his videos so much, why do you watch and comment on them instead of watching something you actually enjoy? To which he said in return, 'cause I'm a dick. This meme of an idea has directly impacted my work, my sense of self, and the videos that I am able to make. And I don't really think that that's fair. There was a month last year where I only made $500 in ad revenue. I can't live off that. The amount of times that I've almost had to stop making videos since then has been almost monthly. I've barely been able to keep this afloat. I've paid my rent late most months for the past year. The cruel and untrue things that you say about another person do in fact have direct impacts on them and the way that people culturally see them. It's why I've put...
Now look, all jokes aside, listen, obviously it is kind of a shame, right? Like, the things that people say about you can cost you sponsorships, viewership, advertisement revenue, where there's consequences to people spreading misinformation about you? Wow, I wouldn't have thought. So his response to basically what happened to him is to just do that to other people. Like, wait, hold on a minute. And the other thing about like, oh, I didn't make enough money to make this worthwhile. Oh, people aren't signing up to Patreon. Then maybe it's up to you to make more engaging content and bring more people in. I always hate it when these people are like, oh man, I can't turn YouTube into a full-time job. YouTube's never meant to be a fucking full-time job, okay? It's lucky if it's a full-time job, but never put your eggs into this basket. Get a goddamn job, okay? I have a job at this day and age, all right? You know why? Because it's more secure and safe. But anyways, this isn't a job rant. This is actually more looking into this person, all right? They don't like bad faith, but they absolutely operate in bad faith, all right? It actually impacted them, and yet they do the same thing to other people. It's insane. And again, look, at the end of the day, it would be one thing if they actually had real cogent arguments, but in reality, they don't. And here they actually kind of admit it. So in this entire diatribe, they write, a thread about the last few days. Many people have said very fair criticism of me and my work, that I did not appropriately portray people, and I would like to address that. To Brandon, I do need to apologize to you for two things. The first, you are right. It is wrong for me to use that picture. I included it to show that you and Wendigoon had a closeness. There are other pictures I could have used. For that, I'm genuinely sorry. The second, I did not do my due diligence when looking into allegations against you. But you fucking repeated them! You repeated him about threatening the R word. Like, what is going on here? You know, here's the thing. Back when I, had my spat with Ethan Klein about the shaming, in retrospect, looking into it, it's like the most nothing burger thing in comparison to propagating actual allegations like this. What the allegation that he promoted, the idea of threatening, that whole R word stuff, that can actually ruin not just Brandon's channel, but possibly his social connections outside of YouTube. Imagine if a family member, like your parent, your sister, your brother, heard that about you, okay? The way they would perceive you would be forever shattered and diverged no matter what. This guy chooses to just run that allegation without doing the genuine 5 minutes of research. Dog, I had less than 3 minutes of my Sneeko video you could have watched that would have actually explained the situation, but instead he guns with it, which shows you that the kind of content that this person produces probably shouldn't be trusted. Anytime this guy makes a hit piece, it's probably so poorly researched that trusting anything he says is unreliable. And it's kind of a shame because I genuinely can see a good content creator, but he's actually ruined himself, at least publicly. People have first impressions, okay? First impressions are everything. As much as I love to give a second chance, watching anything this guy does in the future is actually dangerous. And I think the kind of content and the kind of stuff that he promotes in terms of allegations like this is a real problem with YouTube. If you're going to make serious claims like this, you absolutely better have evidence. Otherwise, it really should be a TOS against you in a sense as well. But ultimately, going down into it, he says, ultimately, I did not feel you were worth my time, but you felt that he was worth your time enough to comment on in a video. Like, seriously, have some actual level of apologies to offer. This is not an apology. This is, I'm sorry, I'm a fucking idiot and I got caught. Now, of course, he said, you using homophobic language to me, calling me a low testosterone freak, does not change my opinion about you. Again, I have no idea how low testosterone is homophobic in any sense. Like, if you ever went to a gym and seen gay dudes work out, bros are hella filled with goddamn fucking testosterone. You ever seen them bodies? The best, the most physically adept people you'll find at a goddamn gym, I'll just say, pretty much, okay? Without getting... Actually, I'm getting kind of hot, goddamn. Anyways, to Mutahar, your thumbnail art was transphobic. I have nothing else to say. We've already covered this. Again, doesn't choose to jump in. I even gave him an extra bit of, ammunition against me. Didn't even decide to go down that. I always try my best. I dropped the ball here in how I presented this. My heart was in the right place. I try to live my life with integrity. If you've watched me for a long time, I hope you know this. I will always believe in trying to do the right thing and standing up to things I do not believe in. Again, this is just a diatribe of nonsense. Mentally, I've grown very tired of conservatives picking apart my work for 2 years. I am worn down. I let my emotions get the best of me here. No, I really think reading the term conservative here already just puts into place. I would say that most of the people on this list, alright, not all, but most, I would say, me included, are definitely not in the pile of conservatives, so to speak, okay? if you ever watched my content and given me more of a fair shake, like I've actually tried to do here for this individual, then you would realize that I'm actually quite on the center leftist side of things. I've taken a lot of batteries from people anytime my personal viewpoints have ever showed up in videos amongst the most extreme ends of both sides of these spectrums. But in reality, I'm willing to take punches if it means I can promote who I actually am versus a caricature of me on the internet that only panders to one extreme side or the other. It really seems like the brain in this person's mind, the brain in this person's body, is pretty much warped by the ideas of politics and infighting and team sports that unfortunately are what politics are these days. Nowadays, it seems like the people that are always trying to make a point and hit pieces when they're in these political camps care more about, you know, pushing their narrative versus about what is actually an objective fact and what isn't. And it's why bad faith representations of individuals have become so common in a lot of these spheres. Whether you're on that extreme right-wing side of people painting the leftists as the extreme bad individuals that I guess they claim they are, and using the worst cherry-picked examples of them, alongside the left wing who use the worst cherry-picked examples of anybody that is slightly right to them as bad people, these are all things that necessarily don't amount to bringing anybody together. In fact, if anything, it's more of a divisive aspect of human society that unfortunately seems to be growing in today's day and age. Look, at the end of the day,
My bias is only personal in terms of my life.
And I really hope that his channel takes the uptick and he's able to actually pay rent on time and make the content that he wants to. But if you're going to make hit pieces like this is a really, really bad trend in these kind of people who make content and actually promote the worst bad faith examples. Because what had effectively happened to him and ruined his life, quote unquote, he's basically doing to the people around him. And it is, of course, I'm going to make a response, at least for me, in regards to my bad faith representation in this situation, because I feel like I have to. I don't like these kind of things that are being said about me, especially when they aren't true. Nobody is. And I have a platform to at least counter and rebuttal and offer in my actual perspective to it, which is what I'm going to do. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and honestly, I wish the best for Praise of Shadows, as I wish the best for anybody in life. There's very few people that I have an actual genuine problem with. Those people are usually on the criminal side of things. I think that this guy could absolutely have a turnaround, and I really hope that he takes some time to sit back, relax, and understand that the people that he's mischaracterizing aren't really enemies in the first place. And if his whole goal is to pick a fight and basically try to make us look like the worst people imaginable, well, his bad faith representations just gave everyone that he's against the most ammunition that, you know, anybody could dream of. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it, dislike it,
Oh, look, it is a good spear. Please stop killing me. Yeah. Oh. May 29th. In 2 days.
Now just 2 weeks away from the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase, and the leaks have been seriously ramping up as we get closer to this event. Immediately after I posted my initial video covering some of these leaks, we got a bunch more, and in many ways, the second batch is even more telling than the first. But the first thing I think we need to talk about is this Fallout 3 remaster. Coming off the insane hype for the Fallout TV show, we've been seeing a ton of speculation that a Fallout 3 remaster could end up at this year's summer showcase. And here, I want to dive into whether or not that's actually going to happen. A lot of this recent speculation is fueled by a recent leak from Jez Corden. He mentions hearing that Microsoft wants the next Fallout game out faster. This due to the massive success of the Fallout TV show and a huge influx of players into Fallout games, and from what I heard, Bethesda was not expecting this large of a bump. So upon hearing that Xbox wants the next Fallout game here sooner, many people immediately jumped to this Bethesda roadmap that leaked last year. This was made in 2020, but leaked as a part of the FTC trial, and it lists a Fallout 3 remaster as a fiscal year 2024 release. So right off the bat, as you're probably connecting these dots, you can start to see how people are getting very hyped. The remaster was scheduled for this year anyway, and now all of a sudden we see Microsoft trying to get a Fallout game out sooner. Surely the remaster is going to be here at the showcase, right? Well, maybe not. Well, this leaked roadmap has been incredibly accurate. Even in just the last few weeks, we've learned almost everything that was pitched or in development at some point is accurately reflected on this roadmap, with the one major inaccuracy being the timing. Many things on this were delayed. The Elder Scrolls 6 is listed right next to that Fallout 3 remaster, and I don't think the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out this year. So it doesn't really seem likely that the Fallout 3 remaster is a 2024 release either. And one of the other notable parts around a Fallout 3 remaster is we haven't seen many leaks as of late. We did get this one 4chan leak that did mention a Fallout 3 remake being shown at this year's show and releasing in October of 2024, but beyond that, nothing actually credible from insiders or otherwise leaked analysts, which is curious. On the other side, we have this Oblivion remaster, which has had several other leaks. It of course is on the roadmap, but it also has been on the Reddit post. Even the reputable insider said he heard of an Oblivion remaster being shopped around, but when asked about a Fallout 3 remaster last summer, he hadn't heard anything on that subject. But on the flip side, something definitely is going on. There are decisions on power to the investment firm that two Fallout projects are in production, and one of these certainly could be a Fallout 3 remaster. But even on top of that, we do still have this bizarre Fallout TV show reference that I think a lot of people forgot about. In the Fallout TV show, Super Howard is advertising Fallout ownership, and a number appears on screen so you can reserve one for yourself. If you call this number, you'll hear screaming. But if you text the number, it'll mention how the next available appointment is in 33 weeks. Now you can sign up for more communication going forward. 33 weeks from the release date of the Fallout TV show is Wednesday, November 27th, which is a really solid release date for a video game, although we have no idea if this actually is a video game. And frankly, I have no idea what this could be, but it's gotta be something, right? As you text this number, you can agree you can get further communications in the future, so it seems like they were setting up something here that would continue. But since the release of the show, nothing's actually come from this. Starfield's DLC is rumored to be dropping in September, so that seems to be largely ruled out, if not the obvious option. Alternatively, this could be teasing a winter update for Fallout 76, or maybe it really is just a tease for a Fallout 3 remaster. Over the past few years, Bethesda has really locked down as far as leaks go, and we don't really get all that much anymore, particularly when it comes to Bethesda Game Studios. So now on one hand, I kind of doubt this is the release date for a Fallout 3 remaster, but at the same time, it's gotta be something, and I really haven't seen this talked about all that much. So I wouldn't be shocked if at the summer showcase, something gets revealed for a November 27th release date, and I have to imagine it's something Fallout related. And now, as we're just 2 weeks away, I really do have this feeling that we see something Fallout get announced at the showcase, simply due to just how big this IP has gotten as of late. Even if we just got a logo reveal for a future game, I think that would get a ton of fans very excited. But on the flip side, the new Doom game has gotten a ton of leaks over the past couple of days. Now we understand that Insider Gaming reports that the new Doom game will be revealed at the Xbox showcase and will be titled Doom: The Dark Ages, which will be a medieval-inspired Doom world. From that leaked Bethesda roadmap, we saw this game was codenamed Doom Zero Year, and it seems like they meant that in a literal sense, a Doom game set in the year zero. To me, this sounds incredible. Lots of the older Doom and Light games, or even some mods for older Doom games, actually did utilize a medieval setting. Although, I don't think Doom the Dark Ages will be full-on medieval like some people are expecting. I don't think it's just going to be sword fights and knights. It'll likely be guns or something like that. Doom is an otherworld game, and as such, medieval times and the Dark Ages there will likely look a bit different than they do in our timeline. Although with all of this news coming out, a quote from years past has resurfaced as a pretty interesting one. As during a stream a few years ago, creative director Hugo Martin described the next Doom game almost like a monster truck, while the previous one with Eternal was more of a race car. So to me, it sounds like this medieval Doom is being described as a slower but perhaps more brutal game compared to some of the previous entries, which were a lot more fast-paced with constant action happening around you. And just personally for me, this all sounds amazing. I'm definitely not the biggest Doom fan in the world, but these leaks have gotten me way more interested in this game's reveal and whatever it'll entail. And yet, funny enough, that isn't even the biggest leak around the new Doom game, as it has also been reported by both Nate Drake and confirmed by Jez Corden that Doom the Dark Ages will be announced as a multi-platform release. So we'll get the new Doom game reveal, but then seemingly it'll also be listed as coming to PS5 in addition to both Xbox and PC, which for many Xbox fans is a very big deal. We of course saw massive controversy around this earlier this year when Xbox Era leaked that Starfield was coming to PS5, and we even saw several other insiders back up this idea. So of course, Xbox later came out and clarified that this was not happening, and instead 4 other games would be going multi-platform but not Starfield. But my speculation at the time, which I still believe, was Xbox changed their plans. Starfield was supposed to come to PS5, but then they saw the gigantic backlash that was happening and changed their tune, not wanting to anger the audience that much. But some even more recent reports from Jez Corden describe that Xbox wants no limits with the games that could go multi-platform. This does seem to indicate a major shift in their business strategy. So instead of the core goal really being Game Pass sales, getting as many people onto the Xbox platform as possible, for some of these games, they're going to be focusing on getting as many players as possible, with Game Pass simply being one of the cheapest ways to actually get into that. Further rumors and speculation that are kind of at a high level that the next Xbox could be very different with a much larger focus on Windows. So for a lot of you, you might not personally care all that much about exclusivity or really a lack thereof with future titles. And yeah, I'm definitely in that camp. I'm a PC gamer and I have been for decades. This kind of stuff doesn't really affect me all that much. But at the same time, for many who felt like they were investing into Xbox as a platform, this shift and a major new release with Doom coming to other platforms really removes a lot of the justification for investing into Xbox, and we definitely could start to see a lot of people switch over to PS5, or likely more so whatever the next generation console ends up being. And a very likely future is, regardless of what Xbox announces at their showcase, this will end up dominating the discussion around the showcase because it is such a big crowd feature. We've separately heard from several insiders that this year's showcase was shaping up to just be insane, so it'll be interesting to see what ends up getting more discussion, the games or some of the details around the games. But to me, what was easily one of the biggest leaks to come out recently was also from Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming. They report both Avowed and Indiana Jones will have hands-on previews that will be dropping after the Xbox showcase. Reportedly at Summer Game Fest 2024, the 2 games will be playable by media and content creators. I am attending this event, so if the opportunity arises, I will definitely try to play these games and get subscribed for any content that could come around that. But to me, these 2 games getting hands-on is a really big deal for 2 reasons. On one hand, it almost certainly confirms that both of these games are going to be coming out this year. Tom Warren has claimed Avowed will be dropping in November, with Indiana Jones in December, and with us getting a hands-on so far in advance over the summer, it definitely seems like, yeah, that'll confirm those release dates. But more importantly, you'll find out if the games are actually good. Media and content creators getting to go hands-on this far in advance is a pretty big deal, as those impressions would be far more informative than a highly edited CGI or gameplay trailer. I feel like with both Indiana Jones and Avowed, they're kind of unknowns right now. Indiana Jones is being executive produced by Todd Howard, and the initial gameplay really looked exciting, but it is one of those games that's kind of hard to lock down. It's an interesting genre mashup, but in just a few weeks, we're going to hear from people who actually got to play this. So we'll find out if that mashup works or not. And Avowed even more so. This initial teaser won over fans instantly, but the follow-up gameplay for Avowed really killed a lot of the steam that was going for this game, as many fans found themselves being way less hyped once this trailer dropped. I think the developer direct earlier this year and some of the gameplay around that did win back quite a few, but in my eyes, a hands-on impressions, actually having somebody go through and experience some of that Obsidian questing, will be the most telling around what Avowed will actually end up being. Because Avowed may even still be getting upgrades. Jez Corden just recently reported that Avowed has moved to Unreal Engine 5.3. The gameplay we saw in January at the Developer Direct looked really good, but maybe we're even going to see a further upgrade at the Summer Showcase. So with a new gameplay trailer and hands-on impressions, assuming these actually do come out, I really think EvE is set up to end up winning a lot of fans back. But we also have heard that the Xbox Showcase will be featuring several non-Xbox games. On the latest episode of the Xbox 2 podcast, Just Ford described how Xbox had secured marketing deals for the new Assassin's Creed game with Shadows. There'll be something for the new Star Wars The Outlaws game, but also some other major third-party release that'll bring solace to a wailing fan base. Honestly, I had no idea what this could be. After just simply Googling around to see which fan bases thought that this would apply to them, it turns out the Dragon Age fan base thinks that this could be around a new Dragon Age game, with many pointing towards Solace being close to Solas, a character from Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm not personally convinced, but at the very least, there are some other exciting announcements on the way. Overall, I think it'll be a very interesting showcase this year, because several insiders mentioned how this one should be awesome. With rumors of multi-platform games and Game Pass price increases, I think many of us are wondering if the details will overshadow some of the reveals. With that in mind, get subscribed to keep up to date on whatever is announced at this one, and check out this video to see the rest of this recent showcase leak.
Gonna mess around with some resolutions and see if I can get Rust to run. I don't think I can, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, you know. Come back and see if I can get it to run. I don't think I can, but you know, you never know. Can't we see the Serpentis battle cruiser? Yeah. Yeah, what's Kira done lately? Kira. Project Awakening. Ooh, EVE Online was the last thing he did, huh? Let's see what he says about Mana Lords.
So Mana Lords is the most wishlisted game. It's the newest, super hyped indie release coming to early access. So I'm going to give my take on the game as well as who it's for, what needs to improve, and if it's worth buying in the current early access state. I had the pleasure of being sent a key to the game on April 10th, and I put a few dozen hours in since then. You'll no doubt have seen a bunch of hype around the game, but I just want to preface, I'd not seen that hype before I played. I had no idea this game existed. I just went into it with a completely unbiased and blank slate. Indie devs and people marketing with indie devs often send me keys for games. Please continue doing that, by the way. Even if I don't reply or cover your game, there's a very good chance I've downloaded it and played it. If it's a standout, I'll definitely take time out my day to make a video about it. But with that being said, once I played it and seen that the game was great, I started seeing videos pop up calling it the most wishlisted game on Steam and another indie darling of 2024. So here we are. You're going to see loads of videos of people praising this, so I'm not going to try and dwell on, minute features and stuff like that too much in the video.
Nope.
And just talk about the overall. With that being said, the game isn't perfect, but first off, what is Mana Lords? It's a medieval strategy game where the core focus is on building and, most importantly, maintaining a medieval village, hopefully becoming a much more complex town and beyond. The game is certainly not going to be for everyone, and it's missing features as well as some depth to certain systems, but for what it is, Mana Lords is a shining example of early access, not just done well, but done great. Which is a good time to segue and address the elephant in the room, the aforementioned early access. So for me, everybody knows that watches this channel, I'm a massive proponent of early access. I like to categorize games into 3 distinct groups in order to know exactly what I'm buying, as well as what I would use as buying advice for my audience. Group 1 is the absolute bottom of the barrel, asset flip, shovelware garbage that no one in their right mind should ever buy. Group 2 is an interesting idea, a middle of the road execution, or otherwise a fixer-upper, a game that might be alright in the current state, but you would be buying to support further development with the expectation that it eventually becomes worthwhile and a game that you will really enjoy at that time. This group is where most early access games fall into and usually are a risk, since the current state of the game is probably not worth the money and you're just hoping it continues to be updated. Group 3 is a game that is worth the money even now at the early access release, that even if they receive exactly 0 fixes, updates, patches or content from that day, it would already be worth buying as a game, and anything on top towards 1.0 full release is just gravy, making an already succulent meal to be utterly delectable. So where does Mana Lords fall on my grading? It's an easy Group 3. The game is absolutely worth the box price on release. For me, and I speak as someone on a great computer, so take this with a pinch of salt, the game runs flawlessly without a single bug experienced in my entire playtime. Which isn't to say Mana Lords is a perfect game, because it is still super early, but I could spend this entire video just talking about the things that are already there. I'm not going to, because we'll get critical towards the end, as it does deserve some criticism, but real quick, let's go over what the game does great. Foundationally, Mana Lords has been developed in the exact way you would want an early access title to be developed. They have a clear vision of what they want to do, what Mana Lords will look like, how the players will interact with each system, and they polished what they have instead of focusing on making an ocean.
It was VSync all along, I guess. I wondered if it was something stupid. I don't know.
They have a super sturdy base from which to build because they've focused so hard on what they already have. In terms of vibe, this game is one. Mana Lords is one of the coziest, chillest, relaxing experiences out there for a city builder. Atmospherics, visuals, sounds. It's basically the lo-fi of management games. The best thing about Mana Lords for me is that aspect, without a doubt. The detail of graphics, along with watching the AI villagers move around, performing their tasks, it's unreasonably addictive in a comfy way. Add on that the difficulty is not over the top, nor is it bombarding you with information or second-to-second micromanagement. The overall experience is exactly what I would want from a management game of this nature. This also extends into combat, which is going to be a misunderstood aspect of Mana Lords, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. So, who is this game for? The developer himself has concerns about this exact question. Seeing his little game pop up as the most wishlisted and seeing a massive hype wave around the early access release has got him asking whether people understand exactly what they are buying. He said explicitly what the game is not, and it's not competing with some of the other giants in the industry. This is not a Total War replacement or a 4X
Maybe I can play some Rust.
or really
That's good.
competing with many, if any, games out there. And he's totally right. After you play the game, you'll understand. This game, it's not competing with any of those. It's something unto itself. And Combat in Manlords is a perfect example of this. You're managing a little village, a small area that even 10 hours you might only have 40 families living in. Those families might be quite large in size, but that's not a lot of people. Maybe 120 or so people live there total. Skirmishes showing up frequently wouldn't fit Manor Lords at all. It wouldn't even fit historically, which is something they're going for in terms of accuracy. It's not like a constant battle for life and death. It's trying to survive, but mostly from a bunch of factors, not just being bombarded by enemy units all the time. You aren't a ruler of England or of Sweden or a large nation state at all. You're a small area. So combat does happen if you enable it in the robust custom game settings that allow you to tailor the experience to how you want to play. But that combat is not a major part of the game in the way many other games use combat. In Manor Lords, combat is impactful in a way that I've not seen anybody really mention. So to put this idea into perspective, you manage a small settlement where each and every family is important. You've built them a home, you've watched it be made, you've seen them move in, and you've watched them move around. You've made sure they've had access to food, clothes, firewood. You've given them a garden to work in. When combat does happen, you lose these people, and you have to assign people to bury them. It's a much more impactful experience, especially considering how difficult and resource intensive it is to outfit the villagers to even fight in the first place. Not only do you now notice that these people are missing, but the game brilliantly and organically makes you want to get more armor and helmets and weapons for each and every member of your militia, so that when the time does come, you lose less of them to the combat. It is a monumental task to outfit them properly, but unlike other games where you simply use a resource and spawn in an army, you really feel and see the loss of your little militiamen, because of the amount of resources you've had to pour into them to make them good,
It was
to lose less
V-Sync.
of them. You see
I
less
can't
people
believe it.
moving around in your city and you just notice. And that's Manor Lords in a nutshell. It's a game that has been made with deep thought and understanding of what they set out to build in the first place. And speaking of building, Manor Lords has a dynamic building system that feels great to use and allows for you to build some of the most realistic, organic and interesting looking settlements of any game in this genre. Overall, Manor Lords is just a fantastically made experience, a shining example of early access done right, and one that will no doubt go from strength to strength as time goes on. But now that I've sufficiently glazed it, let's get into a little bit of criticism. Manor Lords is a game that is carried by the feeling of playing it, of the difficulty of maintaining your resources as you scale up the population, and yet it is lacking heavily in user interface elements that support this experience. For example, Manor Lords gameplay requires you to assign families to work in buildings, like a logging camp or a farm, but there's no user interface that shows exactly who's working where, unless I've missed it, which I'd hate to be the case, but if I have, that's probably due to the fact the game doesn't really do much handholding, which is a pro and a con. But if I didn't miss it, the game definitely needs an interface that shows exactly where and what all your families are doing. This is not an issue in the early game when you have a few dozen families, but as you go forward, the micromanagement of clicking buildings all over the place to see if you have people assigned or to find where you...
That's how I know it's not my game.
Hey, you like...
Oh, not ready yet. No, I guess not. Oh, processing world, yep. Well, that's fun. I'm gonna go out with an endurance and a porpoise. Did you search or Starry Studio? Q3 2024. That's good. A new survival game to look forward to. Thank you, GamerRanks. For
the numbers don't lie. These games are absolutely massive with all their intricacies and subjects.
Suddenly, I have my like weird stuff with YouTube happening again.
Hey, do you like survival games? Probably, because the numbers don't lie. Yep. These games are absolutely massive with all their intricacies and subgenre breakouts. Survival games are still going strong in 2024. So today we're rounding up 20 new and upcoming survival games for 2024. Let's get started off with number 20 and talk Terminator Survivors. Because if you ask me, this is just like a really good idea for a survival game. It feels like everybody's trying to attach IP to survival games. We'll talk about that in a minute, but with Terminator, it makes sense because this game is centered around just after Judgment Day, with humanity kind of pulling themselves out of the rubble and trying to make sense of what's going on in this new world ruled by machines. It's you alone or cooperatively with other people surviving, fighting the machines, scrounging for resources, building up bases, defending those bases, and just doing survival game stuff, but in the world of Terminator. This is published by Nacon, a publisher that has a track record of putting out a lot of stuff, of all different levels of quality, I'd say. But with Terminator Resistance, all we really have so far at the time of making this video are some pretty good-looking screenshots and a flashy cinematic pre-rendered trailer that doesn't really give us an actual glimpse of the game. Still, like I said, I think the idea itself is strong enough if they can actually execute it. You know, we're all building bases and we're all scrounging for resources in plenty of survival games, but if you're doing it to build up and fight back against Skynet's machines, like that's pretty cool. Hopefully we'll find out more about this one soon, but as of right now, it does have a release date slated for October 24th, 2024. Next, over number 19, we have Abiotic Factor. This is a game by Deep Field Games, the people behind Unfortunate Spacemen. So if you like that kind of quirky alternative vibe, you might get that here. This is centered around survival crafting for 1 to 6 players, but it takes place entirely indoors. You're essentially locked in a massive underground research facility, and from here you're building up, kind of like getting a little base for safekeeping. You're building up weapons, you're outfitting and equipping your character to defend against all kinds of threats. Soldiers, the fact that there's like this whole containment failure within the place, and it's like all kind of paranormal interdimensional stuff. So while it seems like you're just trapped in massive warehouses and facilities, it does go bigger than that, but it's kind of just like this weird survival spin on Half-Life 1. At least that's what I've kind of gathered from it. So far, it does seem like people are really digging it. On Steam, it released to the incredible, overwhelmingly positive, and that's That's heavy stuff. This released May 2nd in early access, but it does seem like people are really enjoying it just because it's got a little bit of quirk to it. It's got something a little different to it compared to your normal average survival game. Next over at number 18, if you like survival games but you're more into just adventure RPGs, Enshrouded might be the perfect hybrid for you. Picture a massive voxel-based world where you're dumped in, you create your own character, you kind of build out your own class, engage in RPG systems, but then jump in cooperatively with other players to build, forage, survive, and venture through this world that gives you actual real bosses, quests, dungeons, and just good old-fashioned video game RPG stuff. You can play it with up to 16 players, and this game has a lot to it. A lot of ways to outfit your character, some really cool traversal stuff going on, and a main world and a sub-world, an actual
I need to
shrouded
buy
world
some
that you can
pet
dive into
food.
that's more dangerous, but nets deeper rewards. This released in early access earlier this year, like January, I believe, and it's been going strong so far. It definitely needs some work, but out of all the games on this list, this is probably one of the bigger, more bold, ambitious ones, and if you like the various words I threw out here, because it does check a lot of boxes, consider checking out Enshrouded. It is different. Next over at number 17, we have Ark 2. I'm kind of including this one out of obligation. We don't know if we're actually going to see it this year, but we might get a good glimpse of it finally because it's been in the works for so long, and at this point we still know barely anything about it. But it is the follow-up to Ark Survival Evolved, one of the most massive, hugely popular survival games ever made. I expect them to really top themselves with this one. At least I hope they do, because the budget, the player base, everything, they really have the capability and the resources, I think, to hopefully push the genre forward once again. How will they do that? I don't know. All I know is that Vin Diesel is in the game. So there's that. As of right now, like I said, no release date for Ark 2, but hopefully we see more this year. Next over, number 16, we have Rooted. This is something that looks a little bit more like a traditional boots-on-the-ground multiplayer survival game. It's you and your friends running around, scavenging, scrounging, crafting, building out, and surviving in this post-apocalyptic world, an abandoned world, overgrown, beautifully rendered in Unreal Engine 5. I will say that. It looks gorgeous from what we've seen so far. And it's kind of doing what, like, I think, I hate to say it, the day before that failed game was kind of attempting to do. Apply multiplayer, co-op, and survival elements to something more of like The Last of Us aesthetically. Here you're running around scavenging for resources in an overgrown post-apocalyptic city, throwing stuff in your backpack, crafting out of your backpack, like with a little bit more realistic grit to it. But hopefully they can actually pull this off, because the concepts of The Last of Us applied to a survival game could be pretty cool. I don't know, as of right now, it's pretty simple. I will say what they've shown of the building and crafting for like your base, that does look very impressive, but I'm curious to see what else this thing is really cooking up. You can sign up for an alpha, and overall this game seems a bit more legit than something like the day before. I want to make sure I don't completely compare them like that was a scam. This seems like an actual good project in process, but we'll know for sure when we get our hands on it. As of right now, it doesn't have a release date, but like I said, alpha signups are a thing. Next over at number 15, we have Road to Vostok. This one is really cool just from the concept alone. Essentially, it's a survival game, but set in a kind of post-apocalyptic no man's land between the border of two countries. You're in this border zone and like you're doing survival game stuff. You're crafting, you're building, you're foraging, but you are trying to make your way across this border zone. And that just is a cool idea because it gives you some direction, some goals. But what we have here is actually like a very hardcore single player survival style game where like every bullet matters, resources are harsh, accuracy is important. And aside from being a hardcore survival game, it seems like it might actually end up being just like a good shooter. I like what I'm seeing here, and I hope they really nail this one. There is actually a demo out now if you want to check it out.
Oh, really?
And otherwise, it is releasing in early access sometime soon. Next over at number 14, we have Nightingale. This is a kind of different aesthetic spin on the survival genre where you're hopping between different realms and fighting massive creatures and, of course, looting, crafting, building up, punching trees, doing all that survival game stuff. But the vibe, the aesthetic is a little different. The presentation here is all centered around gas lamp, so it's kind of like an 1800s
I have wanted Life
style.
is Feudal Your Own, but I didn't want to pay the price for it. Yeah, this game... And then the Zion's for sale. Soul Mask. Duckside. Dune Awakening, Sons of the Forest. Project Zomboid is $13. I wish I liked this game more, but its asymmetric bothers me. Days Gone is $12.50. I wish I liked that premise more, but I don't. Ark Survival Ascended, Icarus, Subnautica, Pacific Drive is only $24. The Nightingale offline mode update, $24. It was a mixed Myth of Empires, building open world survival cracks sandbox, Myth of Empires. Mostly positive, Myth of Empires is a multiplayer war sandbox game featuring a high degree of freedom in multiple civilizations. You have to lead troops and stuff. Well, that's cool, but doesn't really seem like my bag. Subnautica, Space Engineers, Survival, Fountain of Youth. Wild Terra, New Lands. Mixed, Boundless. Very positive. V Rising, very positive. Enshrouded. Abiotic Factor. This one that he wanted, or sorry, that he pitched was called Road to Vostok. So we'll go and free demos, huh? Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Exploration. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. You can get it for $22.50. They say it's good. It's a hybrid between a deck-building roguelike and an RPG game. Oh no, Tainted Grail Conquest, okay. It's a storyline, I mean, but it's good to know it's there. I wanted to do Void Train, but then I changed my mind. I was like, nope, it's going to be an arcade game. Drift, Primitive, Karagon, Ruins to Fortress, Zombie Survival game. You couldn't do it? Alright, well, I'll try again. Disconnected. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna change jobs here. Black Mage, White Mage. Oh, I gotta just warp. Warp.
But with like high fantasy elements, it's very, very cool on paper. Unfortunately, the game did release in early access February 20th, and it definitely needs some work. As of right now, it's not totally living up to its good premise. There's some balancing stuff, and like a lot of the early game stuff is a little less exciting, but we're really hoping Inflection Games can make this something great because, like I said, aesthetically, story, world building wise, it is very unique. If they can just figure out making some of those survival game elements a little bit more compelling, Nightingale could be the next big thing. As of right now, like I said, it is available in early access if you want to check it out. Next over number 30.
Nightingale was a game I did consider. Let's see other people's reviews of it now. Nightingale review. And it's like, I think it's got... Right, should you buy Nightingale? Is Nightingale worth the cost, right?
Welcome back to another episode of Should You Buy It?
Thank you so much, Gameranks, for the excellent content for my stream. Thank you so much. Game Advisor, thank you so much for the excellent content for my stream. I'd like to sub to your channel.
A little bit about the game and tell you whether or not we think it's worth the cost.
It's looking kind of rough.
In this episode, we'll be playing Nightingale, the first-person survival steampunk fantasy game where you and your friends will travel through portals into the Fey realms. Now, before we get any further, I want to make sure to give a quick shout-out to Inflection Games for sponsoring this video. If you want to check out Nightingale for yourself, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. I do also want to mention to all of the people viewing this video that this does not affect our review in the game whatsoever. With all that being said, the first question that we always cover in these games is what stage of development is the game in? And in this case, Nightingale is currently still in early access and available on PC via Steam or Epic Games for $30. So what exactly is the game? Well, Nightingale is first and foremost a survival game. It has all the survival elements you might expect to show up in any other survival game, but it also adds some unique features to change up the gameplay loop, as well as some interesting choices in its overall direction. Let's start out by talking about some of the unique features that Nightingale offers, as it's what most of you are probably interested in. First off, the crafting system, as it plays an incredibly important role in the gameplay. Nightingale's crafting system is on the surface very similar to crafting in other survival games. In other words, you will need to do things like gather wood, stone, and fiber in order to craft basically everything that exists. And you will need a certain amount of those things to make new items like crafting tables, tools, and weapons. Where the crafting system differs is when it comes to the different types, tiers, and rarities of each of the ingredients involved in creating an item. This system can be a bit confusing, so just bear with me for a moment while I try to explain it. Let's say you want to craft a tool of some kind. You could craft that with some crude basic fiber, crude basic wood, and crude basic stone, which would result in the most basic version of that tool with no special modifiers. Or you could craft it with desert fiber, desert wood, and forest stone to give it some extra stats in things like critical strike rate or durability. Then you could also craft that same tool with tier 2 desert wood, tier 1 stone, and tier 2 swamp fiber. The higher tiers and rarities of the ingredients used will then create a higher level tool. That higher level tool can then be enchanted with essence, which is a currency that's dropped off just about everything in the game or is found at points of interest, and then this will result in a upgraded higher level tool that could be a level of say 45 rather than only a 10. This all happens because you use those higher level ingredients, upgraded the tool with essence, and you use those items that you found in a specific area to give it a higher stat value in different categories. Now, if all of that's a bit confusing, let me just put it simply for you. There are dozens of rarities, types, and levels of every crafting resource within the game, and when you craft something with a different combination of those items, you will get either a higher or lower level tool based on the items and ingredients that you used. Now, as far as unlocking new recipes for those different items that you'll be making, you'll have to explore through different portals on different difficulty levels to unlock all the different ones available to you. You can also buy recipes from special essence traders who can be found in different portals in different zones in different difficulties. Speaking of the portal system, let's go ahead and talk about how it works. What you can do is craft different cards throughout the game, which create realms of different difficulties and different biomes. As you unlock higher tier cards throughout the game's main storyline, the world that the portal will open to will have increasingly difficult enemies as well as higher tier resources. There are also minor cards which can be used to change things like gravity, the day and night cycle, enemy difficulties, loot, and much more within the world that you are in. Now lastly, I want to touch on what to expect from the story and the end game content. I don't want to spoil the plot or anything like that, but let's just say it isn't all that exciting, as it boils down to you trying to reach a city by going to different realms. As far as the endgame goes, you'll supposedly be able to go to an increasingly difficult dungeons and realms with party members that you can find at the endgame city hub. The reason I say supposedly is because unfortunately I did not reach that point in the game. The game simply just has an insane amount of crafting in it, and it takes a lot of grinding and time to reach that point. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and move on over to the pros and cons section of the video. First up for the pros is that the game is hosted by the developers on their own servers, and you won't have to have friends on in order to play in the same world. This is great, as I'm sure many co-op survival game players know, it sucks not being able to play when the host is just not available to get online. Next is that the game is incredibly in-depth with its customization through the use of the game's crafting system. In other words, if you like the idea of building a very specialized item that is different from most other people's, then it will be totally possible, as every tool, weapon, and armor can be customized based on the crafting ingredients you put into it. Lastly is the theme. To be honest, this is the coolest part about Nightingale, and probably my favorite thing about the game overall. There is just so much that you can see and explore throughout the different Fey realms that it really helps to immerse you into the world. The world itself is also just straight up beautifully crafted, and if you have a computer that can actually run the game on max graphics, then you will clearly see what I mean should you decide to pick the game up for yourself. Alrighty, now let's move over to the cons. First up is that the game is always online. This means that you will not be able to play in a solo mode that doesn't connect with an internet service. So if you don't have internet, you will not be able to play Nightingale. However, you do get the pro that goes along with that of other players being able to play at the same time that you are not online, so it's something to consider as to whether or not that's going to be an issue for you. Next is that the game is very grindy, especially when it comes to gathering and crafting. Yes, you will have about 30 to 40 different types of fiber, as well as wood, as well as stone, as well as ingots, and every other crafting element you can think of. This is just something you're going to have to learn to deal with, and if you like the in-depth crafting system and you don't mind having to go out and grind a different specific resource you want from the specific place of the specific tier, then it's something you might enjoy. Personally, I found it to be a little bit tedious with just how many different types there were, but to each their own. And finally for the cons is that crafting can just be a little bit confusing. I actually kind of like the crafting system, at least with its core concept. What I don't like is that it can be extremely confusing for players that are not already very familiar with crafting in survival games. If I'm being completely honest, if you've never played a survival game where you've had to craft things outside of Minecraft, then this game would throw you for a loop, as its depth with crafting can be very overwhelming. So now it's time for the rating for the game, and when we rate games, we want to get 1 hour of enjoyment out of every $1 that the game costs. So for this game in particular, in Nightingale, we would want to get 30 hours of enjoyment out of the $30 cost of the game. And after playing this game, we give it 6 out of 10 potatoes. Nightingale is definitely a game with an amazing concept. Everything from the graphics to the theming and even the overall intention for the game seem to be well thought out. Unfortunately, I think where Nightingale starts to falter is in its execution of those ideas and concepts. For an example, while some players might not care about having to play online, others would really prefer to have an offline solo mode that wouldn't be that big of a deal if they scale back some of the endgame content to be balanced around a solo player difficulty should it be something that the player wants to opt into. I understand that the game has to be online for reasons that have already been implemented, but it's just simply a great thing for people who like to play with friends and a horrible situation for people who don't. I think this game, however, has a lot of promise for its future as well as a great foundation to build upon, which makes me extremely excited to see what the future patches and updates will do with the game. And therefore, I feel that Nightingale is probably worth the cost. Before you guys go, I do want to give you a quick thank you for watching the video. Like it if you liked it, dislike if you did.
Skill has increased.
This was so easy. Ooh, I'm getting good club skill off him.
Your skill has increased. Your skill has increased.
Yay, I don't have a cap anymore. I can just level things now. Is he gonna give up?
Your
Yeah,
skill has increased.
He gave up, yep. Easy peasy. I broke the clear time. I broke the server clear time. I have broken the server clear time. I'm in Palbar Mines. So 2 minutes 7 seconds. That's all it was. Okay, well, take me home, I guess. Country roads. Hopefully I just go turn in and I don't have to worry about caps anymore. And yay, we got one more thing that I don't have to worry about anymore. This seems wrong, like the fucking server seems wrong, like it's not, like it's messed up now. Try now. Seems like it's doing better now. Oh no. I don't know. Yeah, you seem fucked up. I don't know. I will quit you now and try again. See if you just had a bad like hang or something. So run the Rust server setup. Take me home. Yay! Yeah, I think I had some kind of problem earlier. That's okay. Oh, except Spy Marker. Who the fuck is this? When is the next Deep stream? Huh? Yeah, when will I stream EvE? Every day. Some days slow. Some not. Cannot predict. 2 of the 3 ops this week weren't planned. Sorry. So there we go. And then receive. There we go. Any of these stacked up? No. Thorax Valinor. Yes, I will take that. Okay. Yeah. Who is this person? Member of Marker Occupied Grid. Sacrifice for the Horde leads the way from shame, be it a loser's game. Okay. For less than 1 day. Member of Marker Occupied Grid. I don't know. Nice guy, though. Close. AO Casual. Actually, yeah, whoever that was. I forgot the name already. AO Casual 23. No, too late. Now why? Now why? There we go. Okay. How is my Rust server going? Finalizing world. Cleaning up serialized files. Should you buy Nightingale? Austin does not recommend Nightingale. Okay. Did we go? Yeah, go. YouTube is running fine today. What are you talking about? I am not offline. You're tripping, you crazy website. London just got an important update from the Linvolt Wanderer. An important update on its release. Okay, Equinox in focus. Reinvigorating null sex stream recording. Starfield mods. Starfield's getting better mods and more. Episode 13. New features, land vehicles, and new DLC. That's the leaks turn circle to the ultimate Star Wars game. 100 mods and improvements. Yep. Starfield Odyssey mod collection fixes so much. Nope. Okay, so how are we doing here? You're still going, huh? Yep. Okay, now... Oops. So this was good. Now I need to go turn in. Change, select, reload. I beat Matt first try. That's good. Ooh, I'm getting tired, getting towards the end of the shift here. Yeah, this was a good day. I walked for quite a long time, like an hour and a half. Did quite a lot of stuff on video games. I don't believe I lost my temper today, which is good. I got 2 wins on Fortnite. That was fun. I beat Matt on Final Fantasy 11. I'm going to go beat him again. So I'm going to go talk to him now. Something went wrong with protocol buffer exception, invalid field ID, and you see a bunch of red stuff. So system.boolean load save. It's still loading the scene, but I think it's probably alright. Protocol buffer exception, what does that mean? Yeah, I could go be 75 now. I'm going to go get some water while this runs. I'll be right back. Ooh, very good. So, that's good, and I got Mog Wardrobe capacity, which is very helpful. I can put away this Beast Jack coat, and this Empress Band, and this Pet Food Delta. How many... Wait, now how did that... No, okay, there. S-erable. 2 stacks, that's a lot for a while. What I don't have is Delta. I'll probably buy like 3 stacks of Delta. Full. Yeah, I am full. Pet Food Delta is good. I do have the room to put it away, so I guess I will buy some ammo, pet items. Pet Food Delta. 2100. And we'll put it all away in the Mog Wardrobe for later use. There we go. Sweet. I really want to level Black Mage, but yeah. You know, it's weird. Just to see. I don't think it hurts to try. No. Deep Despair 2 for $1.19. Soul Ash 2. Away to the Stars. What else do you guys have to say about this? It was helpful, but I closed it, huh? Let's go back.
We have State of Decay 3. Now, State of Decay 2 was a survival game, but just kind of like very much its own thing. The way it worked with zombies and surviving and how the survivors and resources worked felt kind of unique. It was a really good spin on these genres. So we've been looking forward to State of Decay 3 since it was announced years ago. We haven't really heard much about this game, but I keep bringing it up because I really want to hear something soon. I'm thinking this is the year where we finally get a glimpse of what they've been working on at Undead Labs, and I really hope that they've spent all this time to make something great, because the potential for State of Decay has always been there. The game has had its fan base, but, you know, you can argue that they've also been pretty flawed. So State of Decay 3 could really knock things absolutely out of the park. Like I said, no release date yet, but I'm hoping we see something more this year. Now down at number 12, we have Frostpunk 2. This is a weird game because you look at it and you don't think it's a survival game. It looks more like an RTS, a city builder. Yes, that's technically what it is, a city builder through and through, but it has survival elements just because the game is harsh and brutal. You're constantly worrying about dwindling resources and keeping this civilization alive in a harsh climate. If it's anything like the first game, it was absolutely brutal and challenging. Every decision has multiple impacts, every consequence has an equal and opposite reaction, all that stuff, but just in really, really in-depth, challenging, and compelling ways. Resources are constantly dwindling, and you're constantly stressing out because you're trying to keep everybody alive. You know, you're not just mining ore and chopping down trees to help yourself survive, you're worrying about ruling a civilization and making the right decisions. And even some of the most blatantly good decisions still have negative consequences. So the first game was absolutely awesome for that, and I would chalk it up kind of as a survival game, and I'm gonna hope that Frostpunk 2 continues the trend. As of right now, Frostpunk 2 is releasing July 25th, 2024. Next, over at number 11, we have Once Human. This is a multiplayer open world survival game. The open world looks really impressive. It's like a post-apocalyptic future, but it's filled with some really interesting monsters, and the game is centered around seemingly tight, over-the-shoulder third-person shooting. I love a good third-person shooter. I love a good open-world third-person shooter. So what you're doing here is post-apocalyptic base building, crafting, scrounging for resources type things, but with your friends, while also shooting really cool monsters and some bosses that actually look pretty massive. You're building up your house, your base, you're also dealing with other factions out there and the world, and you're trying to get to the bottom of what ruined the world, this like magical stardust stuff from seemingly space that just screwed everything up. Seems really interesting. We hope it's cool. We don't know, but we're gonna check it out when it releases sometime in the third quarter of 2024. Next, over at number 10, we have V Rising. Now, this is cheating a little bit because this game has been out in early access for quite some time now, and just recently it finally got its 1.0 release. So now people are experiencing the full-fledged V Rising at 100% what it should be, what the developers intended, and it's absolutely awesome. I mean, we have been talking about it for years. It is a very different survival game. It's top-down, it's isometric, it's way more in-depth than you'd expect, and just is a really good spin on vampire stuff. By playing as a vampire, you're essentially trying to rebuild your vampire empire, rebuild your castle, you know, reclaim your power, and to do that, you need to adventure, loot, survive, do all that stuff, but not do it during the day because vampires can't be in the sun, obviously. It's just little quirks like that, attention to vampire detail that make V Rising really special. But you can play it alone or with friends. They did a really cool Castlevania collaboration, and at this point with 1.0, there's a lot of content here, so consider checking it out, especially if you just like vampire games. Next, over at number 9, here's a really interesting one called Aloft. This is essentially all centered around surviving on floating islands, but these islands you can kind of make into your own little airships. So instead of crafting and building up a little base just in the woods or on a mountain or something, you're doing it on an actual island floating in the sky. You can harness and essentially control these floating islands and live and survive on them. That's a really cool and unique premise. In the survival genre, there's always room for cool new ideas, and this one is absolutely awesome. You know, you're fighting back enemies that kind of like corrupt the ecosystem, but it's all really about farming, gliding around, building, and navigating the winds and the clouds and the weather and all that. You can actually glide around, you can build sails for your giant islands and start steering them like a giant pirate ship. This one just has a lot of good, unique ideas to it. It's from Astrolabe Interactive, the people who previously made Sacrifice Your Friends, and this is an early access game. It also has a demo available on Steam if you're looking to check that out, and as of right now, Aloft has a release date just scheduled as tentatively 2024. I'm definitely keeping my eye on this one as kind of a change of pace. I think we all need that once in a while. Next, over at number 8, we have The Altars. This is completely different, and I'll be honest, it's one that's difficult to describe. It is a game where you're surviving, but it's really a lot about base building. Essentially what it is a very, very science fiction-y, single-player, third-person adventure, where you're like a lone man, just like a worker guy stranded on a remote planet, and it's up to you to build up and manage this kind of base space station that can move around the planet, because when the sun rises on the this planet, those rays are actually deadly, so you're kind of constantly in flux. The game also apparently takes into account the planet's own actual cycle and how that reflects like the resources you're going to get and like what is available to you to keep your base and your character alive. With that, the developers have talked about different decisions that you make and kind of like a spin on time travel where you're making choices in the past to quote save yourself in the present, like you're making new versions of yourself. It's really trippy. It's a lot to describe, like I said, and there's like, you know, third person base management inside, but you're also suiting up and venturing out on this planet. It seems incredibly ambitious. It's from 11-Bit Studios, the publisher behind so many interesting, weird, creative games like Indica most recently, but also The Invincible, South of the Circle, this War of Mine, Frostpunk. The Alters is definitely something worth keeping an eye on. Let's just say that. Now, next over at number 7, we have Light No Fire. This is the newest game from Hello Games, the people behind No Man's Sky. Now, of course, No Man's Sky released and it was pretty rough at first, but they put their money where their mouth was and they made an awesome game out of that. So, alongside consistently updating that game and making it kick ass for years, they've apparently also been working on this thing, Light No Fire, which is kind of like an MMO, massively multiplayer, procedurally generated but truly actual open world. They say it is the first open world game because it is an actual real full planet. With this planet, it looks like there's like different biomes, different cultures and stuff to engage in as you fly around and get into adventures and hijinks either with friends or alone. But there's something about it that's a little bit more lo-fi, a little more chill and artsy. I don't know, it's hard to explain and we don't know too much about it yet, but the project does seem like it's pretty far along. I really think that Hello Games has come a long way since the launch of No Man's Sky, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I am really excited to see what they've been cooking up with this one. Next over at number 6, if you're looking for something a little bit more medieval, a little bit more sword and shield, we have Bellwright. Essentially, you play as somebody that was blackmailed for the murder of a prince, and it's up to you to lead your homeland to stage a rebellion against the brutal ruling regime. And you're doing that by doing survival stuff. You're building up a village, you're making your settlement stronger and stronger, you're helping out villagers, you're building things up, but you're also going out there and fighting battles. You're engaging in first person combat, and it seems like a good mix of stuff. It's still very much a work in progress. It did release in early access in April to mostly positive results on Steam. So if you're into stuff like Manor Lords and kind of like that top-down village building, but you want more survival elements and you want to be on the ground level, consider Bellwright. Next over at number 5, we have something a little different once again. It's Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days. You may have seen this one. It did make a splash when it was first revealed because it's kind of like a third-person zombie survival adventure on a two-dimensional plane. It's 1980 in a Texas town recently taken over by zombies, and this is a shelter-based survival game. So you're going out there, you're creeping around, you're engaging in stealth, and using limited weaponry to get the drop on zombies, survive, but get resources to bring them back to safety to continue to survive. Getting resources and really building up and upgrading your shelters is all about protecting survivors. You want these shelters to house your survivors and keep them safe. And as you keep moving forward in the game and establishing settlements, the zombie outbreak gets worse and worse, making places that were previously pretty easy to go through much more difficult. There's also the human element, of course, because not only are you trying to build safety for survivors, but some of them, you can choose to trick them out of supplies, kill them, or convince them to stay with you. And even then, you still have to worry about their psychological needs. So it's a lot of survivor management, kind of like a State of Decay, but in a really cool presentation and a totally different style of gameplay. Into the Dead just seems really unique from the gameplay setting to the actual gameplay perspective and everything really going on here, and we're excited to see more. We're hoping we hear more this year. Next over at number 4, we have Outward 2. Outward really set the stage for challenging open world survival games where resources are brutally difficult to manage, enemy encounters are tense, and they're also really fun to play with friends. The developers took that energy into Outward 2, which they're now working on. They've apparently been working on it for a bit, but unfortunately we don't know when it's releasing quite yet. But if it's anything like the first one, it is just a strong RPG with very intense survival elements that, you know, focus on a little bit of realism while still being fantasy. It's a really good mix with just loads and loads to do, and just judging from what the developers have said about the new one, it seems like there's going to be even more to take on. We're hoping we get an update for it this year, but as of right now, we don't know, but we will keep you guys updated. Now down at number 3, we have Pacific Drive. This is that sci-fi car driving game that released a few months back that
Have you ever stumbled upon a cave in Skyrim, only to discover it's inhabited by bandits? Or what about those old imperial forts that dot the landscape, the silent remnants of a bygone era? You ever wanted to simply admire their rustic architecture, only to realize that they too are overtaken by brigands? Or what about simply strolling across the land, following one of the major roads, you know, just for safety, only to be ambushed by, you guessed it, outlaws? Alright, it's perfectly clear that Skyrim has a problem, and it's really hard to ignore it, as it's being literally overtaken by criminals of all kinds, one hole at a time.
Oh. Is that all I needed to do, maybe? I hope. Because I think this is right. Yeah, let's go back and see if that fixed it now. I could just start over, I guess. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Hopefully that fixes it. Yeah, I mean, are you killing them? I mean, it doesn't matter, really. Oh. Yeah, maybe we'll be okay. Looks like it's Looks like it's doing better than it was.
Bandits are one of the most common enemies in Skyrim. That's...
Some of this stuff is so boring. I don't really like this lore stuff for Skyrim anymore. The answer is no. The answer is no.
Hey, what's up everyone? Appreciate y'all coming here and check Fallout 76 video. In this one, I am going to be spoiling you guys with a lot of stuff that's going to be coming in the future of Fallout 76. This will be a lot of the future Atomic Shop stuff. By the way, before I get into all of this, I just want to let you guys know
Thank you, Rifle
I
Gaming.
didn't
I'd
data
like to
mine
sub
this
to your channel.
information. A guy that goes by Sugar Bombs Reds data mined all of this info, so big props to him. I'll have a link down below in the description to his Twitter. Big thank you to him for making this video possible. So yeah, now since the credit is out of the way, let's go ahead and get into all of these future Atomic Shop items. I'm going to be starting off with the shelter because, dude, the shelter is insane. We haven't got something like this ever. Check this out. First off, it's a bus that transports you to this environment. This is going to be the new shelter. Look how amazing this looks. This is called the Summer Camp Shelter. It's absolutely incredible. It's got a pond. It's got all the greenery around. I don't know, it's like your own little private campsite. Fallout 76 has never made a shelter like this, and I gotta say, this is definitely one of the best ones they have made so far. And it's interesting seeing how a bus takes us over here. But yeah, by the way, in case you're wondering about the other like random cabins and objects around, those were just placed here as just an example. Those won't actually be here in the shelter. It's just going to be some grass with some greenery around and the pond with the rocks around it. This is freaking awesome. Had to start with this one because this blew me away. Hopefully you get the same feeling that I did when first seeing this. But yeah, now let's go ahead and get into all of the new camp items that are going to be coming in the Atomic Shop. There's quite a bit. Let's start off with the display camp items. We're going to be getting this refrigerated display. Here's an example of it in use. There's also a new power armor frame display coming. Here's what it'll look like. There's also this coming, which is titled Heavy Metal Weapon Racks Display. So you'll be able to display a weapon on this. It definitely looks metal, I gotta say. Anyways, carrying on here, there's a lot of new floor decor. Starting off with this, there's a new flag coming, Pioneer Scouts flag, and this is actually being previewed in the new shelter we're getting. That neat little campsite. You can see a little bit more detail of it within this preview of the Pioneer Scout flag. Freaking awesome once again. It seems like they're going with like a Scouts theme with a lot of stuff in the future of this update. Anyways, there's also this Vault 63 display. This is awesome looking too. There's some new greenery coming, such as this bush. It's called ground cover bush. There's also this kind of bush coming. This is called the ground cover dead bush. There's also a ground cover fern going to be coming. Here's what that looks like. Also ground cover tall grass. Also there's something coming called ground cover toxic ivy. This is what it looks like. There's also some new trees we're going to be able to put at our camps. This one right here. This one's called large brown pine tree. There's also a large green pine tree coming, and there's also a medium brown pine tree coming, as well as of course a medium green pine tree too. Here's what it'll look like. I gotta say, they're going all out with the greenery. These will definitely help spice up camps. There's also some pine tree stumps that we'll be able to get in the future in the Atomic Shop. Here's what they'll look like. Also, there is a plushie Mow the Mole coming. I wonder if we'll ever be able to encounter Mow the Mole actually in the game. Anyways, there's also this like Blood Eagle flag that's coming. Also an eagle balloon. We're probably going to be seeing this sometime around July 4th, I'm assuming. Also a large candle rack is coming. Here's what it'll look like. Looks pretty nice. There's also going to be a small candle rack coming. Here's what that one will look like. And there's also a super duper mart checkout. I wonder if this was inspired from the Fallout TV show. I'm assuming it was. There's also this turkey buzzard that's going to be coming. Look at this. This looks nice. And it's going to have its own little animation too, where it'll move and make sounds.
Oh, here
and
we
stuff.
go.
Anyways, there's also going to be a wall decor candle
That might
rack
be why.
where you could hang it. So yeah, that's that. Now let's move on to the foundations and wallpapers that are coming. Starting
This
off
is.
with
I
this
think
new
I finally
foundation.
did fix
It's
it.
called
That's
the
good.
floating dock. This would look really nice for some kind of build at the water. Also, there's going to be this loading bay camp floor that's going to be coming. Here's what it'll look like. And also a Blue Ridge Caravan wallpaper. This is what the wallpaper will look like. Keep in mind in case...
You're boring me. I don't care about these things. Thank you, DTD Gamer. I've liked and sub to your channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video on the channel. In just a couple of weeks, Bethesda is set to release the biggest update for Fallout 76 which I think we've ever actually seen. Yes, there was Wastelanders, but this one could arguably be even bigger. Sadly, there is still no set date on when the update is actually going to be released, but it is usually on a Tuesday, so it could be the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, or even the 25th. Now in this video I want to do a brief overview of all of the things to expect in this huge new update, so stay tuned and subscribe if you're new for more Fallout 76 videos on the channel. Let's take a look at what's coming in. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing first with the Skyline Valley update is of course going to be the new map expansion. For the first time ever, we're getting a whole new area added into Fallout 76 properly, in not a kind of expedition fashion. This is literally expanding the map.
Oh, cool.
At the south, as you can see.
What's this?
Screen now, and it's bringing in a whole load of new locations. On top of the locations, as you can see in cliffs in the sky, it's bringing in a whole new environment as well to explore, and you can also camp down here as well. So a whole bunch of new camp locations. Now, hiding within this new map expansion, we're also going to be getting a whole new quest line, getting you to explore the remains of Vault 63 and finding out the secrets of what's happening in there. Now, I don't want to cover this too much because I don't want to give away any spoilers or ruin the quest line for anyone, but it's a lot of fun and definitely really interesting. I'll show you the kind of clip on screen from the first bit of the actual quest line where you can venture into Vault 63 and just look how dark and creepy it is. It's a lot of fun. Now, on top of this new quest line, we're also going to be getting a new boss fight that's getting added in, bringing in a whole new Nukem location where you can actually fight multiple bosses at the same time. The boss fight as a whole is a lot of fun, where you get to meet these new Goliaths, which actually are quite challenging, and the map itself where you're doing it is actually quite fun because it like splits up the kind of little area that you're fighting into multiple different zones, and you can't cross into other zones at certain points of the fight, so you've got to be quick and kind of work as a team, otherwise you might get trapped and just killed. There's also other enemies that spawn in there as well to kind of distract you and make it a little bit more challenging, but overall it's a lot of fun. Now, on top of a new boss fight event that's getting added, we're also getting a whole new public event added in called the Dangerous Pastimes. This introduces you to the new Lost Vault Dwellers, which is a new enemy getting added into the game, and it's kind of a weird one. It's kind of like a ghoul slash humanoid thing which kind of embraces electricity flowing through its body and comes after you in a crazy fashion. Overall, the event itself is quite chaotic and quite fun, so yeah, definitely one to look forward to when it gets added in. There's also a whole bunch of new rewards added in with all of this that we've covered so far with the quest line and the events, so keep an eye out for them. Now, on the topic of new enemies with the Lost coming in with that event, we also have a few other creatures getting added in where you will be able to find when travelling around small pheasants as well as thrashers. There's also a couple of little things as well pointing towards other creatures where you can find something in a test tube, which I'm still unclear what this is. Some people think it could be a baby snallygaster, I think someone said, but we have no real confirmation on this. And there's also what appears to be a Wanamingo on a table inside the vault, so yeah, some definitely interesting ones to look out for. And finally, of course, on top of all of this, with a new update, we're also going to be seeing the new Season 17 getting added into the game. I covered all of the data mines that's meant to be kind of rewards for this new season in a previous video last week on the channel, so definitely go check that out. But just for like a kind of heads up, here's a couple of images on screen of what you can expect to see in this. Of course, these are data mines, so they may change. They might change them over to Atomic Shop and maybe switch over a few, but at the moment these appear to be seasonal items. Daily Ops is also meant to be getting some new love as well, with some new locations getting thrown in and new enemies thrown in as well. In these new changes, you'll be able to fight the Overgrown as well as the Fanatics, which are available in the Aquarium or the Foundry. That's all of the main changes coming in with this new update though, in a nice brief fashion. Just to give you a little heads up, I do have other videos on the channel going into a bit more detail on all of these, including the boss fight, the Dangerous Pastimes event, the new enemies in a bit more detail. All of this I have covered in previous videos, but just as a kind of overview, this is all the main changes getting added in. On that note though, that is it for this video, so I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.
He didn't do anything new. So, take it back. $10 and 20 minutes. Alpha Exodus, 7 days to die. Yeah, right. Multiverses.
Biomutant is a confusing,
I'm going to
muddled,
like and sub to your channel.
inconsistent mess. This game has
Thank you,
so
Josh
many
Everton.
mechanics,
I'd like to sub to
locations,
your
and
channel.
just ideas shoved into one experience that it's absolutely no wonder that their execution and implementation is about as up and down as a solitary elevator in a high-rise. With such a rubbish memory, and the pandemic not doing me any favours, I genuinely thought this game had released around 2018, and I would have called its design dated then too. But no, it released in May 2021, just 3 years ago. This was the same year as Returnal, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart,
Returnal.
It Takes Two. Now, I know that Experiment...
Returnal was cheap this month, and I actually thought, I heard that was a good game, and I kind of wish I had it, but it's like a 3D bullet hell, though, which I don't really like.
A small studio that had never made a game of this scope or size before, and I'm not going to sit here and compare this game to every other game ever made, but it's clear to me that their ambition got the best of them. I've given the game away a little bit at the start here, so let me spell it out right now. I don't like this game. Is it a bad game?
Then why did you do like an hour-long video about
My
it?
opinion, yes.
You guys, your generation makes no sense to me. I mean, obviously it's a generational thing, but you spend a lot of time, a lot of your time on things that you hate. I don't know. I guess I do that too. But I don't do it like you. I don't go looking for it. I'm like, oh, I hate this thing. Gonna go spend a lot of time hating this thing. Like, like what? Like, this? Like, are we looking to be Dr. Evil or like, you know, like the Monarch or something? It's sort of weird. Like, who has that kind of time? Like, if you don't like the game, then don't do the video about it.
Throughout my approximately 20 hours with Biomutant, a question very quickly formed and stuck with me all the way to the
It's
end.
weird because this game looks like it could be good to me. It's got damage numbers and good combat and stuff. It's weird, but I don't think it's a good game.
Beyond questions of quality or timing or resource, I was mostly left asking myself, who is this for?
Yeah, who's that game for? No,
If
it
you
looks
can
like a
believe it,
game...
I hadn't actually intended to make a video on this game. I found it secondhand for less than $10, wanted to see what it was all about, so I picked it up. What can I say? I actually enjoy open world games. Less than 5 minutes into actually playing it, I knew I had to make this video. I found the opening experience so baffling that I had to stop, remake my character, and start taking notes. The first thing I noticed is, sadly, the first thing you can notice in the entire game. The intro cutscene feels slightly weird and unfinished. It looks beautiful and it sounds good, but then it just transitions into a boring exposition dump from the narrator. This is a theme that never stops being relevant.
Oh good, here we go.
After that, you get to create a character. At first, I thought this character creator was pretty good.
Okay, so
you can
then
choose your race, which gives you some small
I
stat
should
and percentage
finally be able
differences.
to
You get to modify your stats even further, then customize your resistances, and
do the
finally
rest
pick
server
a
startup.
class. All of this alters your appearance, which is a nice touch. I stupidly went with an agility and intellect starting stat distribution, which wasn't catastrophic given that you can improve any stat each time you level, but it was a bad call. What spoiled the character creation process for me was a twofold issue with the stats. Firstly, there are so many numbers and stat names on screen, and I don't know what any of them do. Secondly, and more importantly, when you try and check what these stats do, the explanation screen overlaps the character creator. The opacity for the initial screen barely changes, and then this pops up right over it, in the same section of the screen, in the same font. It's ugly, it's confusing, and it makes creating your character all the more difficult. I know this might sound
I'm gonna
like
log
a nitpick,
out
but this is
so I don't lose all my
insane to me.
macros.
This is the very first part of your game, and if you can't get that right,
I've
then
written a lot
what
of
am I gonna find
macros, and I don't
further
want to
in?
lose them.
Anyway, let's get into the actual game. Here we go. We've dropped in. We're controlling our character, and we're going into the tutorial cutscene. But not just any cutscene. The first thing you do in-game is walk up to a literal crossroad and choose to be good or evil. Again, this isn't binding for the whole game, but you definitely don't know that going in, and it's a bafflingly ham-fisted thing to do regardless. You don't, for instance, find a wounded animal and decide whether you'll bear the burden of healing it or butcher it for food or something. No, you just
I like that
stand
he
on
talks
an
how
empty
he
dirt
thinks.
path and have to choose between a black imaginary flying demon plushie or a white imaginary flying demon plushie. Now that's the kind of depth that could rival Baldur's Gate 3. Move over, Shadowheart's parents, we have a new hardest choice to consider. Also, the narrator just tells you the exposition. There's no environmental storytelling, there's just this British guy explaining the plot of the game and the tutorial you're in. But there's also still tooltips that you have to read. I don't love that combination, especially when they interrupt gameplay so much. My first impressions from the tutorial, apart from a burgeoning sense of dread at my own poor decision making, was that Biomutant felt simplistic, bare bones, and made for children. That was the first instance of my overarching question. I had thought that some of these strange design choices were intentional and resolved to play further and test this hypothesis. I also noticed something else very strange during the tutorial, or rather, the lack of something. Sound design is often taken for granted in video games. The satisfying clunk of a blade against flesh, the deep rumble of gunfire as you turn your enemies into paste, the thunder of hooves against the earth. Biomutant sounds like a bunch of kids with foam swords in an abandoned shopping mall being recorded from the empty parking lot outside. Okay, that might be a little dramatic. Actually, you know what? No, I wrote it, I'll stand by it. The sound effects are played through the controller by default, and only through the controller. Ambient sounds and music came through my TV, but all combat SFX were through the controller, and needless to say, the microscopic controller speaker, probably powered by the heat from my hands, was slightly less good than the soundbar and subwoofer I bought to boost the sound quality of my TV. Now, because my PS5 is clever, it captured all of the sound effects, so you probably can't hear what I'm talking about. It sounds like a perfectly normal game in recordings, but I assure you, I had to go into the settings and change this to make it sound that way in real life. Once I did so, the game began to sound like a symphony, a moving, heartstring-pulling triumph of an audio experience, and I felt every explosion in my chest, every swell of the masterly composed soundtrack immersing me further in the perfect world building. Wait, sorry, these are my notes from Dune Part 2. Yeah, the sound still sucked. Effects are way too quiet, and nothing has any weight at all. Even landing a combo finishing hit with a giant melee weapon on a huge armored enemy sounds tinnier than the Beach Boys singing a cappella inside a bin. They also just cut out sometimes, making combat stilted and awkward. On the other end of sound design, we have voice acting and dialogue. If you've seen, read, or heard anything about Biomutant before right now, you already know that the narrator is a huge complaint everyone makes. He's the only voice you'll ever hear speaking English, and he talks a lot. He gives you the entire story, all of the world building, and even your own...
Oops. I'm sorry, guys. Just need a 5-minute break here. I got to go help somebody real quick, and that's all. Won't take long.
own backstory. He also provides the dialogue.
Okay, guys, sorry. I have to run to go do something, but it will only take like 3 to 5 minutes. Won't take long, and I'll be right back. Okay, but I don't even use this for. Oh, I put my shoe on wrong. Sorry about that, guys. I had to go get some food and some laundry. Okay, back.
They all have their own little Banjo-Kazooie type voices and talk in gibberish. The problem is, in Banjo-Kazooie, which is one of the greatest games ever made on any platform ever, the voices were cute and stylistic, made sense for the time period, and had text that synced up with the sounds, so you could read along as they talked. In Biomutant, characters mumble and grunt their nonsense for a few seconds, then the subtitles pop up telling you what they're saying, and the narrator sums it up too. I know that you can turn down how much the narrator speaks, and I think you can even turn him off entirely, which absolutely would improve the game, but it doesn't fix some other issues that we'll get to later. The result is characters who all feel exactly the same. When you're only hearing one voice for everyone, they start to blend together, and the variance has to come from the dialogue itself. Unfortunately, they all say the same things as well, with lines so interchangeable they may as well have been randomized. The other issue with the dialogue and constant narration stems from the world building. Human civilization appears to have collapsed a long time ago, so specific words and phrases that were once common have clearly fallen by the wayside, to be replaced with this childish, overly literal gobbledygook. There are string plonks, the goo glide, ring-dingers, stronk boxes, you get the idea. I'm sure the comparison has been made before, but it feels like a 20-hour-long interdimensional cable sketch, and not one of the good ones, one of the plumbus ones.
The blamps rub against the chumbles, and the plubus and grumbo are shaved away.
My fiancée, who saw me play less than 10 minutes of this game, said that it reminded her of a PS2 game, namely a series of unfortunate events, except the narrator makes sense in that game because you're reliving a story. This feels like they were trying to save space on a disc and save budget in development by hiring one guy and reusing his lines about 30 times each. This was the second piece of evidence I found that Biomutant was definitely made for kids. This kind of gibberish talk and simplistic, repetitious narration would surely get debilitatingly annoying for anyone over the age of about 12. This is also not something that happens by accident. You can create bad graphics, bad stories, bad combat, and a bunch of other mishandled game systems by accident. You can have good ideas that just get executed badly, bad ideas you thought were good, or just run out of time, but this is a deliberate choice. Sure, it may have been informed by resource allocation or time management, but there were dozens of other ways to employ some of these sound and dialogue techniques, most of which would have been better in my opinion. So now that we've talked about how the game sounds, how does it look? I'm actually quite torn on the graphics in Biomutant. On the one hand, there are impressively large landscapes filled with vibrant colour and beautiful foliage, varied from region to region, all looking genuinely enticing and unique. On the other hand, there are effects, textures, and creatures that are uglier than those guys from
what's with the
Chernobyl
comic
with severe
stuff?
radiation poisoning. Generally, it's a really good-looking game for the size of the team. As I said, environments are beautiful. From the first second I stepped out of the baffling tutorial, I loved the aesthetics of the world. The grass and leaves sway in the breeze in calm fields and forests.
The aesthetics look
Mountains
good to me.
rise up in the distance to give you a grand sense of scale, and ancient highways or ruined buildings serve as a reminder of the world building and what humanity left behind. They do scale really well, especially with small characters. When you stand next to a giant fortress, it really does dwarf you, and it makes you want to explore. Once inside, however, you realize that many of the interiors are literally copy-pasted. More on that later. There are also huge hazard zones like this glowing purple radiation zone, or this oxygen dead zone, or this misty green biohazard zone. These are welcome additions to the environment and often pose an extra layer of challenge or preparation. The point is that seeing these areas made me want to run over and explore them. It's the same with the vast lakes and rivers running through the map. They break up the hills and paths and make you want to jump in and swim to another part of the world, until you realize that it takes your whole stamina bar to swim 10 meters, and you basically instantly drown when it runs out. Hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? The weapons and items all look fantastic. They're intricately designed, with every module on your gun or sword or rocket hammer standing out, especially when you get modifiers that make them glow or smoke or spin. The animations are all flashy and fairly cool, making you look like Yoda from Attack of the Clones, jumping and flipping around the battlefield. Unfortunately, your character itself doesn't quite match this level of visual splendor. You, along with every other character in the game, have a lot of fur, and the fur in this game looks bad. I'm sorry, it just does. They've tried to make everything look like Sully from Monsters Inc., but it all just looks so fake and plastic and sterile. It gives every big furry monster a glossy, cartoonish look that really takes away from how threatening I assume they're supposed to be. This guy doesn't count. He's supposed to be cute. And he is. We love this guy. Your character, no matter how you build them, ends up as a strange, monstrous oddity.
What the
This
hell?
is obviously by design, but they also look super goofy, and I don't know if that's by design. I think I ultimately have to assume that it is, because it fits with the rest of the creatures and characters that Experiment 101 have made, which also look ridiculous and goofy. There's this Elvis guy, there's these weird leek-looking things, and a buck-toothed, mouth-breathing behemoth. Pretty silly stuff. Again, really confirming the theory here. I'm not saying that goofy characters and pajama-wearing land sharks are inherently childish, but a lot of this aesthetic seems to lean towards that potential younger audience. I also just don't like some of the graphical choices. I don't know what it is, but everything seems to have this fuzzy sheen over it, as if I just poured salt water in my eyes before playing and wasn't blinking enough. At the end of every combat, there's also this Spider-Man-esque slow-mo shot of the last enemy dying, but it always felt like it took a bit too long and made some of the already fuzzy textures seem fuzzier still. Sadly, I also have to make a slight adjustment to my earlier praise of the foliage and environment design. There are several areas of the game that just look unfinished, bare bones, no clutter, and just visually boring. Some of the worst offenders are the flashback scenes. They mostly take place in an empty grass field with nothing interesting to look at and a whole lot of empty space just begging to be filled by literally any of the game's many assets. Why does it look like this? To cap it off, there's more at play than just clashing graphical choices and polarizing execution. The frame rate is also inconsistent. Really inconsistent. I played on PS5, so I expected it to be smooth as butter, but it was choppy in almost every combat. I'm not sure it fully comes across in my footage, but it was quite unpleasant.
That
The
seems
cutscenes,
odd.
if they can even be called cutscenes, are atrocious. They're staged badly, boring as hell, and all look exactly the same. You may as well be in an empty white room for every single one because it just zooms in on your character Oblivion style, but at least there you got to hear voice actors read their alphabetically sorted lines and have a chuckle. Here you'll just be mashing the skip button to get past the annoying narrator. Lastly, it's a nitpick, but when you run out of ammo and attempt to keep firing, the click-click visual to show you're empty glitches out and goes really big. It's very distracting and happens very consistently. As I said, a lot of these choices and implementations are
Fucking annoying.